What's up, guys? I forgot the intro. I'm messing up. We're a little late today, so get used to it. All right, what's up, everybody? We're a little late today, but better late than never, right? That's what I always say. So we're gonna get into UFC 303. It was pretty action-packed when it got to the main card. Of course, we got some NBA trades and the NBA draft that just happened last week. Uh, let's start off with the UFC. You could lead us off. Where do you want us to start?
I don't know. Well, I guess in the preliminaries, they gave Cub Swanson and Andre Fili fight of the night.
Interesting.
That was really surprising to me. I didn't think that fight was that good, and I also thought Cub Swanson won the fight too. I thought he was more active throughout the fight. I thought he was pressing forward. I thought Fili was kind of backing off a lot and was kind of scared to strike with Swanson.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to see like old Cub Swanson actually still have it.
Yeah. It was
an interesting fight.
He was advancing. He was advancing all night. Fili got a couple of takedowns in real time, but I honestly thought Swanson won that fight.
Right. Yeah, he definitely looked like the aggressor. We've seen that lately. I'd say in the past month, maybe I'm not just picking up on the previous months, but I feel like as of recently, the guy going forward isn't getting the benefit of the doubt when it comes to a decision anymore.
Right, and he's advancing. He's being more active, throwing more strikes. And those guys who are backpedaling seem to win the fight.
Yeah, we see what was that a couple times last week. I don't know why I can't remember who. There was the
Yeah, I can't remember the fight either, but I remember the person.
What? I'm trying to think of which fights there were. There was Gastelum, but Gastelum seemed to be coming forward the whole time.
Dylan Rodriguez, yeah, and he won the fight. He won all 3 rounds.
Yeah, and he won the fight. We were talking about this last week, though. There were two other fights that the aggressor lost. And we were like, what happened? One of them was Gordon. That's what it was.
That's what it was, Jared Gordon. He lost.
I know he had the little mouse on his eye, but, man, he was the aggressor 3 rounds in a row. And then, as we were saying last time, he was the aggressor in the Paddy Pimblett fight and lost too.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. The undercard, these guys that sometimes are leading the charge don't get it. And I don't know if it was meant to be like some squash match where they thought Fili was just going to get the rub and kind of go up and beat Swanson because he's older and just is what it is. And maybe they had this kind of image of their head of how it would go.
Right.
I don't know what we could say, but I don't know. And Dana's vocal when the judges are bad. So it's hard to ever say, like, the judges are working with the UFC because I feel like Dana puts up, if it is a front, he puts up a pretty damn good front because he's got a lot of beef with those judges. He'll call them out by name sometimes. Like
he'll call out the referees, too.
He'll call out the refs. So, I mean, if it's that bad, whatever, but maybe there was something they seen with Fili. I mean, he did have more takedown attempts. He had actually successful takedowns, too. He had 2 successful takedowns to Cub Swanson's 0 for 2 versus 2 for 11 on the takedowns by Fili. Do they value the takedowns that much? Maybe, especially if they're successful.
But I feel like they should be valuing more the damage.
Yeah, they do value the damage, which we've seen with the Gordon fight, because that's what we were saying. We're like, how does this guy lose when he's the aggressor and had the takedown attempts? I think he was 0 for 11, 0 for 13. But and he still lost. So, like, there's this weird gray area criteria to where maybe each judge is slightly different.
Yeah, maybe those judges took his 2 takedowns more into account.
Right.
He was going for more takedowns, and he had more control time.
Yeah. How you feeling about Peyton Talbot, though? This guy's been coming in and just whooping everyone's ass. Quick, too.
That quick right. And he didn't even need the follow-up shots, to be honest.
No.
I mean, had 3 follow-up shots, and they should have ended the fight when he went down because you could just already see that guy was out of it.
The way he got hit, and he just fell flat. Like, it wasn't even like a folded. He got hit, all the momentum, just everything. It was the perfect shot.
But the way his head went,
Talbot.
And the way his head went back, it was just like stop the fight there.
Yeah, definitely right. His back of the head did look like it hit the mat hard.
And kind of like the same thing with the Prohaska fight. I mean, after the head kick, there was no need for Pereira to fight up and hit him. As we were talking about last night, you and I were talking about last night, there was
Yeah.
no however many follow-up shots there was, 8, 9, 10. And we all know Herb Dean is probably the worst ref, one of the worst refs in the UFC. And we saw that again last night with him not stopping the fight when he easily could have.
Right. I actually noticed another bad ref error. It was during the MVP fight, and he was using his toes on the cage. And he was grabbing the bald ref. The bald, I don't know his name. I only know a few refs' names. I forget that guy's name. He's like a light-skinned, bald black guy.
Oh, Mark Smith.
Mark Smith. Yes. Mark Smith didn't call it on MVP. I don't know if it was a bald thing. He didn't want to take away the point. But like he clearly did it multiple times where his toes at least like went into the cage. And I was like, that's a little sus.
And sometimes you'll see referees actually pull the guy's foot out of the cage, or at least pull the toes.
Yeah, or they'll like do a little chop. They'll just like let him know, like, hey, get it out of there.
Yeah, and he didn't.
Yeah, there wasn't any of it. Like, he didn't mention it at all. And I seen it multiple times. So, I mean, there's things that people miss. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the heat of the battle, and it's hard to judge and hard to say, like, oh, the refs missed this, the refs missed that. I see something, someone else doesn't see it. You know, we were talking about Asia Wilson getting a block the other day off of a tipped pass.
Yeah,
but it all depends what angle of the court you were seeing it. And if you were taking stats and you look up, you see the tip, you see the ball go up, it looks like a shot. You know, it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah, and it's also different for the referees that are actually inside the cage.
Yeah.
So they have they obviously have some pressure on them. They have all the fans on them, everybody else watching them, judging them. So it's got to be difficult for them too. But that Herb Dean stoppage was terrible. And he's been a referee for however many years now.
It was just crazy to kind of see it as the first hit of the round, though. I don't even think Herb Dean was necessarily like ready. Like, nobody gets slept in the first 2 seconds of the second round.
I know, but the thing is, he was hurt he was wobbled late in the first round.
Right.
So you have to take that into account as well.
You should take that into account, a buzzer beater little knockdown by Pereira.
Yeah, because when he got up after the bell in the first round, he could barely walk. He was all over the place.
He was a little wobbly, but I thought he would kind of come back to his wits. I thought it was more of he just got caught. It didn't look like Pereira, I should say, because I said Pereira earlier. Pereira, like, came with the left, but his right foot wasn't even planted. If you actually, like, looking from different angles, there should have been no steam on that hit. I know Pereira's, like, has this godly power that nobody seems to know how to handle.
Especially with
like,
the left.
Literally, his feet weren't even planted, bro. Like, I don't know how he had that much to drop him. It must have just been the perfect hit right there under the chin or whatever. But, man.
But on the replay, it didn't even seem like he got him flush.
That's what I'm saying. That, like, the way he hit Jerry Prohaska and dropped him at the end of the first, it was crazy because, like I said, he had 1 foot planted. There shouldn't have been any power on that. It was pretty lazy. He kind of just fit it in there. It was almost just like a distance tester. And for some reason, it just caught Prohaska. You know, maybe it was the last second. So Prohaska was like, oh, I'm not about to get hit. You know, maybe his footwork was a little off or his balance was off. But that was the strangest knockdown in the way to get caught. And then maybe that's just what it was. He got caught by a light shot, had him dazed. And then he goes out there. And then Pereira's coaches after the fight said, you know, we were watching him warm up, and every time he was checking calf kicks and stuff like that, his hands were way too low. So
always
he
are.
Starts the fight, he raises that leg a little bit, and then just brings it over the top and drops him with it because his hands were too low. Kind of like Wei Li. Remember when Wei Li did the same thing against Rose Namajunas?
Yeah.
Went in early into the fight, first 20 seconds. I know it wasn't the second round, but came right out there. Hands low, looking to just, you know, block a little check kick and stuff like that to get in rhythm. But he goes for the kill shot in the first 1 second of the fight or the second round and really takes him out.
And it just shows you how powerful that left hand is of Pereira, even if he doesn't get necessarily what we think is a clean strike off or a flush shot off, that he can still do that much damage, that much power. And that the left leg kick, that the left head kick, that was so fast on the replay. I can't
even live. Like,
yeah,
I seen him after it hit. I feel like it was that quick. And like I said, you don't expect that type of head kick thrown at the beginning of a round.
Especially that big of a guy too. He's that. whatever he is, he shoots up to 230, 240 on fight night. It's something else.
Yeah, that
But
was insane. Poor Jerry, man. I think Jerry's kind of done. He's
just
looking like the new Dominic Reyes out there.
Yeah, it's just the way he fights is so unorthodox, and he keeps his hands down. He doesn't check any of the calf kicks. He's terrible. I mean, that was his problem in the Rakic fight. Even though he still won it, he was getting his leg kicked, and then same with the Pereira fight. And I thought the other thing is he was trying to strike with Pereira. That's not the move. He was. If you go back to the first fight, he won that first round by taking him down and and controlling him. But he tried to. I mean, he did have a little bit of control in the first round. He didn't take him down. He had him on the cage a little bit. But I don't know. Striking with him is not the move.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in their right mind that will want to strike with Poatan.
I mean, especially when you have the grappling of Yuri, and you've had submission wins in the past. Right. You won your championship off a submission. So I'm kind of surprised that he would actually go in there and try and strike with him. It was a horrible move by Prohaska.
Yeah, maybe it's an ego thing, like some pride. Like,
yeah,
I could beat him, but no, that's 2 losses to Poatan. I don't think Jiri's ever going to get a third unless he's got to knock out the next 3 guys. But I don't even think Poatan's going to be in 205 by the time.
Yeah, but Jiri
even makes a comeback. So it's done. He's 0-2 to Poatan. So.
And it's not like it was the first 2 Holloway and Volkanovski fights where they were close decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gotten knocked out in both of the fights, so it's kind of hard, ace for a third fight. I mean, unless like you said, he goes on some tear and starts beating everybody up, beats Jan Blachowicz, beats Ankalaev, beats Jamal Hill, all by knockout, or
beats Izzy in a 205 match where Izzy tries to come back and catch Poatan or something. That is the only way that Jiri can get back in the ring with Poatan is he's fighting Izzy and the winner basically gets him. And everyone expects Izzy to win and Prohaska gets lucky.
Yeah, so it's a pretty difficult path for Prohaska to get back.
I almost went on a Jiri Prohaska diss track rant, but I don't want to do it. I was going to put on Meet the Grams and then say every pronunciation of Chael Sonnen's last name of Jiri Prohaska and just one by one, just go down on beat. But I didn't want to do it to him. It's bad enough that he was like, I spent 3 days in the dark. Yep. I prayed. I trained. I focused all my energy to this.
For no reason.
For no reason, man. Literally in a black room for 3 days with no food, just water. And then he got put in a black room. He got knocked out cold.
And that was kind of scary to see him getting up too.
No, it was. Him getting up and being that out of it, I felt bad.
Yeah. It was nice to see Pereira trying to help him up and everything. And that was scary. But
Pereira doesn't seem to be much of a dick. I mean, the Jamal Hill one is probably the only time where I was like, I was a little messed up, but I also get it because he kicked you in your cup 10 seconds earlier. So you do have a little bit of anger in you, like, damn, man, you kicked me in it. Even though it didn't affect you, it's still a low blow. I got you.
No, but Jamal Hill was also talking trash too.
Right, yeah. Jamal Hill was talking trash.
When they had the face-offs the night before, and he had that, what's that, the face thing?
The headdress?
No, not the headdress. He was holding up some chain, and it was like somebody's face. I can't explain it. I don't know. He had some chain and he was holding it up on him, and then he was talking a bunch of trash and leading up to the fight. So you can't really be mad at Pereira for that.
Yeah. Right. So I mean,
I gotta find what it was.
Black magic.
It was the black magic. See,
that's what Jiri said. He said Poatan does some black magic and he's unbeatable.
It's really working.
It is.
Worked both times against Yuri.
I wonder where he learned this black magic from, because he was just a normal guy in a tire shop.
Right. I gotta find magic.
Where was he learning this? Who was his witch doctor?
Right.
So we can move on from there. That was kind of the undercard. I mean, the Joe Pyfer sleeps Barrialt real quick.
That was almost, that probably would have been the knockout of the night if it wasn't for Pereira.
Yeah.
He really flatlined. He flatlined him. That was bad because
I wish I had that highlight pulled up.
I
I might look it up. You say something about Pfeiffer real quick.
Because he didn't even need that right hand to follow up on him. I mean, that officially flatlined him. The extra right hand, there was no need for that. But that one was almost worse than the Pereira one because he was completely out. I mean, he was not.
I got it pulled up quick. Usually, I have trouble finding these knockouts. Sometimes the UFC isn't too lenient.
Yeah, your Canadian brother wasn't even moving.
Oh
no! Wait, hold on. This isn't it.
This was in. This was
this was the other night. I'm like, what the? That's not that guy.
Yeah, that was at the Apex.
Go get him! He's out! Joe Piper!
Well, which one slept him?
Well, the overhand right is what started.
Go get him!
I know before he kind of got him into like back down and he beat him and pushed him into the corner. But like, which is the one that really slept him?
Oh, what slept him? Yeah.
What slept him? Because like this one right, like that left right here. Hold on.
Because the right hand they showed it before.
So that left, obviously, like it dropped him, and I bet you killed his morale in his head.
Right.
Then this one hits right here in the lat. So I mean that could hurt. It could get you like winded a little bit. It could definitely catch you. This one looks like it goes straight to the chest. So he got body, wing, chest. You're kind of like you're folding from that. And then where does this one come in? That one looks like it grazed his head.
Go get him!
And then I think maybe on the way down he might have caught him.
That one, it didn't even look like it touched him. The second to the last punch, it was so fast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't figure out what necessarily dropped him. I think it was body shots and just like mental fatigue after that. I think he knew he was going for those 3 body shots.
Yeah, but that right one was really bad. The last right one.
Yeah, on the way down, I think he already was losing momentum and kind of probably a little out of it. And just that knocked him. Kind of like how Johnny Walker got knocked out last week. He was already kind of laid back, already out of it, dazed. And then one little tap just flattens him.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was. Because, I was confused about that knockout because I'm like, I didn't think it was a knockout. I thought it was a TKO. I thought he broke him.
Yeah. But the
way he like fell forward was more of like getting knocked out cold rather than like, you just curling up and kind of just being vulnerable.
But the way they showed it on replay, you could see that he got off a lot of clean strikes.
Oh, 100%. But that's what I'm saying. Like the cleanest strikes that were hit were all in the body.
Yeah, because I couldn't even see him. I thought he bounced a couple off his shoulders or his hand.
He grazed one off the top of his head, but I guess if you're disoriented, and I mean, these dudes are trained punchers, so
that's how fast Pfeiffer is.
Yeah, we've seen people get knocked out from grazes before. Think about Volkanovski against Islam.
Yep.
He got grazed in the kick. The kick hit. Look at this one. He hit him with this.
Yeah.
If you rewatch it, he didn't hit with his shin. He got hit with a calf. I don't even know how that knocked him out. So, I mean, there's people who get knocked out from grazes. And, I mean, Islam throws that kick hard as hell. And he probably feels like steel. His muscles are probably, he's probably strong as hell. So
because he's on
whatever it is, it was still a hard surface. But typically, you don't get knocked out by calves.
Right.
So people get knocked out by grazes, especially if you get clipped before. You never know. Your equilibrium could be off, and it just is what it is. But let's move on to the main card. Ian Machado Gary, I think we touched on it a little bit. I seen a little bit of toe grabbing from MVP on the cage. But overall, it was a decent fight. MVP, his speed is like something I've never seen before because Gary looks fast against other guys. And then he gets in the ring with MVP, and MVP's just like styling on him. And Gary doesn't know what to do.
Because the second round, and they didn't really throw a whole lot of strikes throughout the fight, but in the second round, Michael Venom Page got off 4 or 5 huge strikes that I'm surprised Gary was able to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, he just stood there. He never seemed wobbled or affected or anything. He was smiling after, so I'm sure it hurt, but it didn't really seem like it affected him that much. But I thought, Dana White was saying in the post-fight press conference, he saw it as a draw, and I honestly could see that too. Because
I can see it as a draw, definitely, because MVP won on the feet, but Gary won on the ground, and I thought that MVP looked a little I don't know, like not like a rookie, but the way Gary kept advancing on him, whenever he did get his hands on him and he took his back on the ground, it looked like MVP wasn't really doing much with his hands.
Right.
Like he wasn't defending the neck as well as he should have.
Well, he could have easily gotten choked out in that first round.
First round, he should have got choked out. I don't know how he didn't choke him out. Yeah, it was weird. I thought he had him. MVP didn't look like he was even fighting the neck hold that much. Like, I know he's tucking his chin, obviously. Anybody in their right mind would, and he was. But, like, I don't know. Just he wasn't fighting it off the way I've seen. It looked like he thought maybe he had an out somewhere, but it wasn't. He was locked up.
And he was locked up for a good chunk of the round, too. And I thought there was one time where he had it across his face, and then he kind of moved. But then Gary got it under his neck, and we know that's where usually the fight is over.
That's what I'm saying. He actually got under the chin without MVP even fighting it. And I'm like, why isn't this fight over yet? So maybe it's something with MVP's body or something. Like, I know it sounds funny, but everybody has like a different anatomical structure. So you got guys that, can't get in headlocks. Like, who's the one who broke out of Ortega? Was it Volkanovski? It was Volkanovski. Yeah, he's got no neck. You can't choke a guy out with no neck.
Right.
And then same thing with like Khabib and stuff, like thick necks, because they do those neck push-ups like Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's neck was crazy. Pause. But oh my God, I feel like we have to restart the episode after that one. But but it's true, like some guy, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just super skinny and it's actually kind of hard to get like a wrap around. I don't know what it is, but it looked like he had it. And I don't know if he couldn't squeeze any further, what it is, but he should have had him.
And MVP, maybe he was surprised that Ian Gary decided to go with that much grappling and tried to submit him. Maybe that played a part in it too. But I thought Ian Gary definitely had the first. Not a whole lot went on in the second round, but I thought MVP definitely outstruck Ian Gary. And then
he looked like the better fighter. Like there were doubts that Gary could lose in that second round. Like there were times where I was like, oh, he could go down. There wasn't any moment in the second round that I thought MVP could have lost. There was no vulnerability in that second round. But in the first and the third, there was. So I would say Gary won it. But the more impressive fighter and potentially even the higher skilled fighter looked like it was MVP.
Right. But the other thing is the third round, MVP had top control for almost 2 minutes.
I mean, he didn't do anything with it. He knew nothing. I think Gary like baited him into it almost. Like it didn't look like there was any advantage. It looked like Gary was in control. He's way better on the ground. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is actually taught from the back. So you have a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu like Ian Gary. I think he was comfortable on his back. I think he believes he's winning when he's on his back. There's some guys that are like that, and especially Gary, someone who really has two strict fighting styles, and he meshes the two pretty well. He's got his kickboxing, and he's got his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, yeah, I don't think he was ever threatened by MVP's top game because MVP's top game isn't that good.
Top game is crazy. Top game is crazy too. But I thought
it's just like MVP doesn't have a lot of leg muscle and a lot of like core stability strength to really like break through a guard of any kind, a butterfly guard, cross guard, and to get up and actually just, lay some hits down. He's not built like that. He's lanky.
Yeah, we were talking about calves. He's got some skinny ass calves.
Yeah, MVP's wicked skinny. But he's just super lanky,
And the other thing is Ian Gary he almost had a leg lock too.
Yeah.
So it was more of a threat there too. So I could see how Gary got it, but it was a really close fight in that third. I think the third round was obviously the closest round.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can see giving the nod to Ian Gary. So
I'm fine with calling it a draw in my brain, and because MVP didn't look that bad. We already know he can't wrestle. Nothing surprised me about that. What surprised me was how fast he is at 37 years old.
Yeah, I wasn't.
He was doing some funny shit. The way he was just. Just bouncing back and forth and then fitting in that little rabbit punch.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that the fight wasn't that crazy because I wasn't going to be surprised if the fight went all 15 minutes. I was more surprised about Ian Gary's grappling and him nearly getting a submission. Not that MVP is a great wrestler, but we haven't seen a whole lot of wrestling from Ian Gary. But obviously, he's been in Brazil and he's been working on his jiu-jitsu and everything, and it shows. So I wonder what's next for him, because he's obviously climbing his way up the rank.
Gary should be. I think he was 7th. MVP was 14th.
Yeah.
I hope they don't knock MVP off of the 15th, the 15-man rankings, because even Dana said it. That could have been a draw.
Right. Let me see.
I'm not going to mark this as a loss in my head for MVP. I believe it was kind of a draw too, and I think in certain situations and matchups, MVP would be successful where Ian Gary wouldn't be. You know, in a matchup like, I don't even know, probably mess with him at 185. Who would you rather see fight, you know, like a Izzy or something? You know, would you think Ian Gary could take on Izzy, or would you see MVP has a higher chance just because?
I feel like MVP and Izzy fight would probably be boring as hell. They'd just be point fighting each other all night. Be doing some goofy stuff. I feel like the Ian Gary and Adesanya fight would be more watchable.
Probably. I think he would lose to Izzy. I think both would lose to Izzy, realistically. But I do think just because MVP has that, you know, spontaneity in his fighting style that you don't know what's happening next. I don't even think he knows half the time. He's just random style fighter. His bag is crazy, so he could just go into the bag of tricks and pull out whatever whenever he seems fit. So I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, like I said, I hope he doesn't drop out of the top 15. I hope he stays fighting good contenders. I don't want to see MVP come over here and not do anything. Like, I've wanted to see him fight in the UFC for a very long time. There's a few guys like that. And, yeah, like Michael Chandler, he was a dog. You know what I'm saying? Finally came over, had some great fights, fun to see, took some losses, and he's been in the mix ever since. I think MVP should get that same respect, especially for how he fights. He's just this fun – he's the original style bender.
Right.
You know? Like, actually, I know Izzy has that name, but if you actually take it for what it is, it was MVP who originated it, and then Izzy kind of ran with the flow. But word for word, bar for bar, it was MVP first.
Izzy copied it.
Izzy copied it.
But so ahead of Machado in the rankings, it's Gilbert Burns, and he already has a fight booked. Jack Della Maddalena, Colby Covington. That we know they were talking trash before this fight got set up. Shavkat Rakhmonov, Bilal Muhammad's fighting Leon Edwards for the belt in July, and then Usman's number 1.
So Gary against who would you say was 5th?
Jack Della Maddalena.
Jack. I think that's a fun fight because they're both just brawlers, and I don't know. Ian was a fan favorite for a while, but just that girlfriend drama kind of killed his steam a little bit, and I think it has people betting against him.
I don't know if anybody wants to fight him with what's on his lip, too. That was gross.
Oh, yeah, the lip.
That was crazy.
Hey, man, his wife's ex-husband taught him everything he knows on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Don't judge him. He's a dietitian. Isn't that crazy? Your wife's ex-husband's your dietitian and trainer?
Yeah, there's something weird going on there.
Something very strange. And she has like a published book on how to marry a rich guy.
Yep.
It's definitely strange. It almost reminds me of the NBA draft. We'll get to that in a little bit. You know I want to dive into the NBA draft. But in the NBA draft, there was a guy named Kyle Filipowski who actually played at Wilbraham-Munson Academy in high school, which is in me and Ritchie's neck of the woods, right there in Wilbraham, right next to Springfield. And we went to summer basketball camps there at Wilbraham-Munson Academy growing up. I know I went to a lot of them. I know you at least went to 1 or 2.
I remember going to one with you, and then who was it? Was Mike Dunleavy there? Did Mike Dunleavy come and talk at one of those camps, I think?
Yeah, Mike Dunleavy definitely came to one of the camps.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think like which one you were at. I don't remember. I know I went to a lot because I played against Nerlens at one of them.
Yeah, I didn't play. I don't remember Nerlens.
That was my first camp. That was I think not my first camp, but my first it was like an elite camp type thing, like actually one of those real camps that you see like on mixtape and all that when like the top recruits go and play against each other. And I just played for the local AAU team, and I was decent, so they were like, "Hey, come play in this tournament thing." I'm like, okay.
I don't know if I ever played basketball with you in the camp because you were probably in the older group.
Yeah, we were definitely our age brackets were different because we're 5.5, 6 years apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember playing against him. There's one other dude there. It was the BABC team actually. So it was Michael Carter Williams, Nerlens, and then I believe it was Good Luck Okanoba. Nobody knows Good Luck Okanoba because he went to UNLV and really didn't do much. But bro, he was just basic. There were two Nerlens on the court, and Nerlens was supposed to go number 1 that draft. He ended up sliding number 6, I think. And it's known as the worst draft of all time. But it did have Giannis and Rudy Gobert in it, which are two of the most skilled people in their position of all time. So it's whatever. 2013 gets a bad rap, but yeah, I got to play against those guys when we were really young.
Yeah,
they were a grade above me as well. I remember it was like a mixed age bracket. It was like 17U, 15U, 13U. So it was like 2-year chunks. So you could be facing someone a little younger, a little older, whatever. But it was a good mix-up. And, yeah, I had to face those guys. Like I said, I know nobody knows Good Luck Okanoba. But if you really look back in who was the class of, like, that age group, you got Nerlens Noel, Mike Carter-Williams, George Niang, Jake Layman, Jalen Brantley, who was actually incredible. And he's from Springfield, too. He went to Central with me. But he was 2 grades above me. He ended up bouncing around in college a little bit, but he went to Maryland, and he was the guy who went on Ellen DeGeneres' show, who did the Running Man Challenge. You know that song? And I think of you. You know, and that little dance people were doing back in the day, like when Vine was popular. So Jalen Brantley from Central, he came up with that. He invented the dance, him and someone else on the Maryland Terrapins. And, like, that was when Melo Trimble was on the team. He was the backup point guard to Melo Trimble. I don't know if people remember Melo Trimble. He ended up getting drafted by the Timberwolves in, like, the 2nd round. I liked him in college, at least. But, yeah, him. Who else did I say? I said Layman, Niang. There were a few other guys. Wayne Selden. Bruce Brown.
He was at Kansas, right?
Yeah, Bruce Brown was a little late after. He was actually a class after. I think he was a year younger than me. So yeah, not Bruce Brown. He wasn't in that. There's one more. I'm forgetting who it is. But yeah, anyway, it was a pretty cool camp. It was like I don't know, something. it was some ranked thing at Wilbraham Munson. But this is where Kyle Filipowski went. 7-footer. He was 7 foot back in high school, and everyone knew, like, this is a guy that's probably going to the league. He committed to Duke out of Wilbraham Munson, and from there, you know, his story has gone on, but I guess he has some crazy girlfriend that met him while he was at Wilbraham Munson. So back home where we are, or were
24, 25, right?
24, 25. I don't know if it was the babysitter or how exactly she came into the family.
That's what I heard.
I heard it was the babysitter, but in my head, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up much in my head because Kyle Filipowski went to a boarding school, which is Wilbraham Munson Academy. You live there as a student. So you don't need a babysitter. Like there's some bit of truth here that's off. She either was his babysitter when he was a kid, like 8 years old maybe, and they just were family friends and it somehow developed later. But what I know about Wilbraham Munson Academy and what all the players and everything else go through at that school, it's a boarding school. It's a prep school. You live there. You get sent there and you live there. You stay. So you don't necessarily have a babysitter. I'm very confused about how this story came about. And then he goes to Duke and everything else. And then now he purposely falls in the draft, tells them he's a Mormon, all this other stuff, and wants to get drafted by Utah. So Utah automatically knows they could pick him with their last pick. They don't have to force it at number 10. They picked Williams, J-Dub's little brother, and I think that's a great project to pick for them. And he's a little, like, eccentric, too. I don't think he's going to mind, like, going to Utah. I think he'll like that. But Filipowski, like, late in the 2nd round, they know he could grab him because the dude doesn't want to go to any other team, and I bet he conveyed that. There's a lot of stuff that I found out through this draft cycle. Same with Bronny. His agent is telling people, don't draft my player.
Or he's going.
I will make it difficult on you if you draft Bronny.
And he said he was going to go to Australia.
Yeah, he said he was going to go to Australia and everything else. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that the average person will miss. The casual will miss by a mile. But just having real life in-depth knowledge of this stuff and how things work, you could try to put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, that's been my biggest question. But back to Ian Gary and his weird girlfriend. Sorry, I digress a lot. But yeah, it's just something I'll probably tag on it a little bit later. But just to let you guys know, like, this guy was in a boarding school. He didn't have a babysitter. So there's some weird thing in this story that is a lie that is being told. And I'm willing, like, to be on Front Street and be wrong about this. But at the same time, I know what that school is. It's a boarding school. You don't need a babysitter there. Your parents aren't there. Nobody's there. Your coach is there. The assistant coaches are there. They check on you. They wake you up at like 5 a.m. to do workouts. I know the whole process. I almost went to Wilbraham Munson. Remember, Mom worked there.
Yep.
Mom worked at Wilbraham Munson Academy. I was going to these camps. We were trying to get me to be a walk-on, and that's why I was invited to the camp. Everything else, I was trying to walk on to the prep school team, and I didn't make it. But I know how the process goes. Like, I talked to the coaches. I went through all this stuff, so I know personally that there's nobody there holding your hand.
Right.
You know. So I'd say, I don't know. Like, let me see. Where is he from? I just want to see where he was born. Yeah, he was born in New York. Born in New York, from New York. He went to 2 different high schools in New York before transferring to Wilbraham Munson Academy. This is what I'm talking about. That's how I know it's Cap. You don't have a babysitter over state lines.
Right.
What are we talking about? He's from upstate New York. It's a 5-hour drive. How did he have a babysitter?
It
don't add up. I just want more truth to the story. But yeah, let's move on. It's just something that I know is Cap. You know, when I find a hole in something and I know I'm right, I just know I'm right here. There's something Fugazi's going on. Anyway, Anthony Smith versus Dolidze.
Nah, the Myra Bueno Silva fight. That was the next one.
Oh my God, the split. I thought Bruno Silva was gonna whoop this chick's ass. I ain't gonna lie.
He was whooping her in the first round.
She was, and I was like, everything's going good. Boom, a little exchange happens. She lands on her back. Bang, comes down with the elbow, splits it immediately. And the girl even knew. She split it and then like put her hand over the cut. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see that.
She's seen her face explode. Literally, she's seen it explode. Next thing she does, she covers it like a second later. Because either, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was gruesome to her, or she was trying to cover the fact that she just split her because the fight would end right there or whatever. But
that was
kept going. They went to the corners. They tried to clean it up a little, but they couldn't do it.
And Bueno Silva wanted to keep fighting too. She had no problem with the cut. But
she was wiping the blood. I'm good.
Yeah, in the first round. In the first round, in the clinch, Bueno Silva was hitting her with all those knees to the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised she was able to last with that, because we know when you go back to the Irene Aldana fight against Macy Chazon, she hit her with that up kick to the body, and that ended the fight.
Oh yeah.
And she took all those shots to the body, the punches to the body, the knees to the body, and never.
I will say, I had one theory about the knees to the body. I know that obviously no one wants to take knees to the body, but there's a big height difference. So shorter fighter, 5'5", trying to knee the basically 6-foot fighter. She's 5'11", but she looks pretty tall too. It's not like it's like a fake 5'11". She looks pretty tall. So you got like a 6-inch height difference, and tall people typically have longer legs. So like her torso is a little higher and everything. Short people are a little more compact and evenly distributed. Like, she's tall with long legs. So like to knee her in the stomach, that's like as high as you could go. You're not essentially getting that full like boom knee in the stomach. You're kind of getting hit at the end of the range.
Oh, so you're not able to generate as much power.
Yeah, I didn't think she was getting like full perfect knees the way you would really expect them to be, or even how they looked. I think if she was a little bit more even height, it would have done some better damage, like you said in the previous fight, where she was really landing some body shots with the legs and the kicks. So
no, she had the up kick when Aldana was.
She had the up kick in there, but she was using knees in the clinch before.
Yeah, when Aldana was on her back, she kicked her in the stomach, and then she was out.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it was a little bit of a height discrepancy and why the knees didn't do as much damage as they looked. But yeah, they looked clean. But
They
that's
did.
what I think it was. I think they just didn't have as much steam all the way at the top. Next one, we got the Anthony Smith, the Roman one. Like, honestly, it was kind of a whack fight to me.
It was boring as hell. I thought Delitze definitely won the fight, but it was.
Yeah, Delitze won the fight. It was just boring. Like, it was just.
And he almost got him out of there in the first round.
Yeah.
Because he knocked him down. Well, I don't think they counted as a knockdown. They didn't count as a knockdown. But he kept teeing off on Anthony Smith. I thought they could have. I mean, not that there was a chance the fight could have been ended, but Anthony Smith was moving around obviously enough and didn't seem too hurt. But that was probably the biggest moment of the fight.
Yeah. I seen a lot of people last night trashing John Jones because of Anthony Smith. They're like, you went 5 rounds with this guy. You couldn't finish him. You couldn't blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Anthony Smith was on a hot streak. He was a lot younger. And I don't know. I just think he was at a different point in his career. He was a great challenger at the time.
I know, but also John Jones beat the hell out of him.
Right, and he did ragdoll him for 5 rounds. It's just Anthony Smith is a little bit of a zombie.
I mean, it wasn't like it was Izzy and Jared Cannonier and he was just point fighting him or something. John Jones beat the hell out of him.
Right.
All 5. It's a little different.
I think that's why Anthony Smith is the way he is now versus the other thing of him not being a good fighter at all. I think John Jones broke the man.
You just look at Dominic Reyes.
Look at Dominic Reyes.
And
he might have looked like he won the fight, but he did get the shit kicked out of him at certain times too, and he hasn't looked great either.
And he was able to bounce back in his last fight against Dustin Jacoby and knock him out. But you look at, since then he got finished by Prohaska, Blachowicz, and Ryan Spann.
Yeah.
And those
Jacoby's older.
Those are all ranked guys.
He's been an in and out of the UFC guy. He's not a top tier talent. Dominic Reyes was always blue chip talent. Jacoby was always overachieving.
Yeah, I don't think Colby's what's his name? Dustin Jacoby's not even in the rankings.
No.
So, and Reyes is 13th right now.
Right.
So.
And then my guy, this is the real fight. Diego Lopez and Dan Ige. Those guys are warriors. I respect Diego Lopez on a whole nother level. Dude was supposed to fight at 145. And then they go, no, you're going to fight at 155. He's like, okay. And then they go, wait. We're actually going to switch the fighter, and you're going to fight at 165.
4 hours before the fight.
4 hours before the fight. And he goes, okay. That's why. Didn't I tell you this months ago? I said, Diego Lopez is a dog. That dude will go in there and fight anybody. He's a brawler, and I just love the way he fights. The energy, the enthusiasm, even the style. Like, everything about him is fun, and I'm rooting for that guy. And last night, I'm just so glad I think it's his 4th fight. And since I've said, like, who is this guy? This guy's awesome. I want to see him fight more. And now he's going on his 4th victory in a row in the UFC. And just looking great, And shout out to Dan Ige for going in there on short notice. That's not typically his weight class. No one's weight class is 165. Let's address that. It's a weight class that doesn't even exist. And they had to fight in that on short notice. What happened?
And Dana White doesn't want to do the 165-pound division either. He was saying
it's been a discussion, though. Apparently it has. Also, because they both took this fight on short notice, I love what they did. After the fight, did you see what they did?
What, they want to get the fight at the Sphere, right?
What they did was, after the bell rang, they met up, and either Lopez or Ige said, come with me. I got a plan for us.
Oh, yeah.
We did something that we shouldn't have done. No one else in the UFC would have agreed to this bullshit. We're going to go demand a favor on the spot while everyone in the arena, the energy is there. You can't say no to us then. So I think they both went over to Dana White through the cage, sitting down together like they were bros or something. Like, they were shoulder to shoulder, like, yo. And they basically just said to him, like, give us a fight at the Sphere. I can't believe we just accepted this fight. And look at how hard we both fought. We deserve it. And that's what they got right there. Like, they called for it. And I respect that power move because they both deserve it for fighting in a weight class that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, and Dana White said in the post-fight press conference that he's probably going to do that. I don't know if they're going to fight each other, but I think they'll at least
right. They're not going to fight each other. They're going to get their own fights. But, like, even think about it, bro. Just because – who is he supposed to fight again at 145? Lopez?
Brian Ortega. That was supposed
Ortega, yeah. So he's supposed to fight Ortega at 145. Then you make him go to 155. Once Ortega drops out, why don't you find a 145er for him to fight?
I guess.
Why does he have to keep chasing weight limits? He was
Right.
never signed up to do a 155, so why would you put him against a 155er if Ortega's out? Why would you put him against a 165er if Ortega's out? Just find a 45er. It didn't make any sense to me at all. And, I mean, they tested Diego Lopez tonight.
Right.
That dude's a real deal. Doesn't matter who you bring out there, 20-pound difference, he doesn't give a shit. He'll go from 45 to 65 and fight anybody. I respect that on another level.
And have we ever seen anything like that where the fight was changed 4 or 5 hours within the fight of actually,
No, that's why I'm saying they were trying to end Diego Lopez because this is a guy who came up from like the undergrounds, but was never like even like a great, like a Michael Chandler or Eddie Alvarez, Patricio Pitbull. He was never any of these guys in these other divisions, even MVP. Like, he didn't have a name for himself. This is not a guy that should be winning.
Right.
And I think he just keeps winning and being that underdog every single fight and just having more heart than the next guy. And so I think this was the test for him. They're like, what can he do? He's going to lose here. We get to build Ige, who we already know. We already kind of built him up a little bit. The fans know him. This was a perfect match for Lopez to lose. He had a lot against him.
He did.
And in the co-main event.
Yeah, he showed his heart again.
Co-main event, and was the better fight out of the main events because, I mean, Prakovsky didn't put much of a fight up.
Prohaskar.
Jiri, what's his name? Man, if he puts up another stinker and gets slept again, we're gonna play the Chael video.
Yep, we got to play.
We're gonna bring it up. Jiri, you're one loss away from getting chailed.
We got to put it on a loop for like 5 minutes or something.
We do. We'll make it the intro. We'll do anything. I don't care.
We'll keep it the intro until Yuri wins again.
I actually have a great intro that I want to put on. It's a recording of my girlfriend yelling at me about sports podcasts. It's pretty funny.
But we got to do the Yuri thing until he wins, and that'll be for months.
Hold on, let me see if I got it. Yeah, hold on. I wonder if you could hear it.
Play-by-plays every single day. I have to start my day listening to Bill Simmons. I can't even put my own music on in my own car, and you can't give me a Saturday. You can't take me to TJ Maxx. You can't go on a walk with me to Airwalk, but I have to literally revolve my life around your BS basketball.
It is like because it's like the funniest thing ever. Because it's like every sports guy knows, like their girls on them for watching too much sports, and it's just this like average man struggle of like time for your girl, time for sports.
She hates Bill Simmons.
She said, I just want to listen to music, and you're making me listen to Bill Simmons. Like, it's trade season, babe. The deadline's coming up. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I want to clip a little bit of it. I want to do a new intro, and then maybe do something with that, and like have some other things in it. I think it would be pretty funny.
You should just clip the Bill Simmons part.
I know, right?
Part would be.
The Bill Simmons part is what really killed me when she said that. I'm like, oh my god. And this was like 2 minutes into her rant. Like her rant was just, she was leveling up, and I'm like, I never record anything like that. And I was like, this is actually kind of funny right now.
Yeah,
so I secretly pressed record, and then I let her hear it after, and she was like, all right, it is kind of funny, but I still hate you though. You still got to stop listening to sports podcasts.
That was great.
But what was it? What else?
I want to say that the Gene Silva fight, the Gene Silva and the Charles Jourdain fight on the prelims, that was a nasty uppercut by Silva. And I liked it, and I like that they stopped the fight. He didn't get any follow-up shots after. I don't remember who the ref was, but that was a nasty uppercut by Silva, who missed weight too.
Usually the guys who miss weight win.
Yep.
Chael Sonnen, I listen to a lot of Chael Sonnen, and so he told me something basically like If he could go back, he would miss weight every time because he'd be undefeated. Everyone else is sitting there cutting down the 185, trying to aim for like 184, let's say, and then 184 and a half, 185. You could just comfortably go in at 186, and you don't have to really kill yourself, and you just give up 10% of your purse. If you're making 50K, all you're giving is 5,000. So now you're making 45,000, and you get an advantage.
But I thought it was 30% though.
I don't think it's 30% of your purse.
No,
I think it's per pound. I believe there's a certain percentage or threshold.
I thought they said 30%.
Yeah, I don't think it's 30, or at least maybe in his time it was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was saying, he's like, if I wasn't a wrestler and born and raised to make weight and everything else, this lifelong thing, like it makes sense to him because he's like, you get a little advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
Might cost you a little money, but at the same time, if you lose, you only get 50K. But if you win, you get 50K and 50K. You get the purse and the winnings. But so like, if you take 10, so think about it like this, even if it's 30%, let's say you go in there and you're outmatched and you think you're going to lose. He's got a little size on you. He's got whatever. If you lose, you're making 50K. If you cheat and you win, you make 70K.
But that's
30% of 100K. You'd get your winnings you get your fight bonus and then your winnings. So that's 100K, 30% off. You get 70K. You get to win. You get to fight again. You get to potentially move up in the card and make more money on pay-per-views and everything else for just sacrificing a percentage of your purse for the victory.
I know, but if you keep missing weight, you're not going to stay in the UFC.
But if you keep winning, how can they stop you?
I know, but you're missing weight and you have the advantage. Dana White's not going to let you slide.
But you got the fans also by the balls too. Like you have like the entertainment. Like if you're winning and you're on a hot streak, if the fans are rallying behind you, they're calling for your next fights. They're doing all this stuff. Like
if it once or twice, maybe, I don't know. I can't keep.
Gaslam's missed what, 3 fights, and that's what he did last fight. He went in overweight on purpose,
and Dana White's pissed at him.
Dana White's pissed at him, but did he win? Did he get the winning bonus? Did he get the check? And that's what Chael Sonnen was saying. Like, bro, regardless, I don't care how people feel about me. I'm already a heel. He's already a bad guy. He talks shit. He does everything else. He's like, people hate me already. Mm-hmm. Missing weight, and I'll take a little piece of my check, but I'll beat you with it. Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely up for debate. It's not a foolproof plan.
Yeah, I guess once or twice. I don't know if I would try to make it a routine.
Mm-hmm. All right. And anything else on the prelims? I mean, Michelle Waterson fought. She took an L to Jillian Robertson.
She retired, too.
Yeah, she retired. Andrei Arlovsky should have retired 10 fights ago.
I think Dana White said that was going to be his last fight.
It should be. He hasn't looked great in the past couple fights. I'm actually surprised he made the distance.
Right. That fight was horrible, too.
Yeah, it was bad. It was just a bad fight in general.
But before this 4-fight losing streak, he did go on a 4-fight winning streak.
Yeah.
But now it's...
But the 4 losses in a row are really bad.
And he's 45.
And he's 45, and he's fought 60 professional fights.
Yeah.
Like, he's...
And he's been...
I'm not saying he's a bum, but he's just taken a lot of damage, It's a lot of wear and tear in the cage. And if you think you're going in there and still trying to be a champ, it's kind of crazy.
And he was a champion, too.
He was, but he's...
So it's like, now...
But to be in the UFC, typically you should be on a path to getting to the belt, not falling from it.
Yeah, now it's like, what are you fighting for at this point?
Yeah, what is he fighting for?
He's not fighting ranked guys.
Yeah, it's not good anymore. I don't think it's healthy. It's just definitely. At a certain point, it's not healthy anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's about it for the UFC. I know we actually went a little bit longer than I expected, but I mean, we touched on some other things. We talked about Kyle Filipowski's girl. And
what do you think is next for Pereira? I mean, you think he stays at light heavyweight? He's going to face Ankalaev, Blachowicz again. Going to fight Jamal Hill again.
I want him to go to heavyweight. I want to see him fight John Jones. If he beats John Jones, I'm ready to say, Poatan, bro, you have this short career, but it's like a Maya Moore type career.
It really is.
If he comes in there and literally just dominates for 6 years and just has this little segment of he owned the UFC for this little piece, I'm all for it.
But you think he's ready for John Jones?
Hell yeah.
Mm.
I think he's ready. I think he's as ready as he'll ever be. You got to know, like, at a certain point, like, some of these, like, Ian John Jones, he's getting older. Pereira is getting older. Like, they got to fight at some point.
But what if John Jones takes him down, though?
That's fine. Then he takes him down, and that proves that John Jones might be the GOAT. And this guy, you know, he was as hot as he was and doing all these things, jumping weight classes, knocking people out. He's not the best. He's just the best at staying on the feet and throwing hands and throwing feet.
I'd like to see him like maybe 1 or 2 more fights.
So what would you want from him? Would you want to see Prohaska not Prohaska, obviously not Prohaska. Piera versus Cyril Gane?
I'm talking about just light heavyweight.
Not going to take Cyril down, so you'll get to see 5 rounds of Cyril on his feet, throwing kicks, throwing punches, doing his thing too. Because Cyril doesn't have to play like a softie anymore because he's not facing a guy who's going to take him down.
No, but I'm talking about light heavyweight. I want to see
light heavyweight.
I want 1 or 2 more fights. I want to see the Jan Blachowicz fight again because I honestly thought that was a close fight, and I think because we watched it together, and I honestly thought Blachowicz won that on first watch.
Yeah.
So I want to maybe see that one. Ankalaev, he's number 2, so maybe him. But that would probably be it. I don't know. I know Jamal Hill probably wants that rematch, and there was
Ankalaev could be interesting because if he has half a brain, it's just wrestle Piera from the start. From the second that bell rings, you work a takedown.
That's kind of why I want to see how he's going to test Pereira and see. We know Jan Blachowicz, he can grapple, he can wrestle too. So I kind of just want to see that. I want to see how Pereira can do with those 2 kind of tests.
Yeah. I'm upset about Rakic, man. Rakic versus Poatan would have been fun.
Yeah, I know. But now he
lost to Jiri. Now he's never going to get it back. He had the injury. You know, he had some years stolen from him. I kind of feel bad.
And he's still ranked 5th. So
he's a great fighter. He really is. He should have been champ a long time ago, but he just never got the opportunity.
But the thing is, maybe he wins 1 more fight and he's back in title talks. Because I mean, top 5, let's say he beats, I don't know who he faced. Because I think he already fought Blachowicz. So maybe he fights Jamal Hill or something. I don't know. But
maybe. Sweet dreams.
Jamal Hill's title talks. But I would like to see Pereira fight Blachowicz and Ankalaev again. Because I think those would be 2 pretty good tests.
Okay.
Before he goes to heavyweight. But if he goes there, I'm not going to be upset if he goes to heavyweight and faces John Jones or something. That'd be pretty awesome. Or if he fights Tom Aspinall. I don't know.
And I guess last thing on the UFC, never bad to bring this up, McGregor and Chandler. So remember, you picked who you thought would win, and what did I say?
I remember. What did you say?
Fight wouldn't happen.
Okay, you were right then.
I said the fight's not going to happen. I'm not picking a winner because it's not going to happen. And that's what happened.
And then they were asking him the other day when McGregor was going to be back or something. They said, is there a timeline between August and October? He said none of the above. So now we have to wait maybe till next year.
Maybe till next year, maybe December, something like that.
But at this point, it's not even exciting.
No, I don't want to see him fight Chandler. If McGregor comes back, I want to see him fight the Donald Cerrones of the world. Not Cerrone again, but those type of guys. Fight the vets. I know McGregor wants the biggest paydays because he's the most popular guy in the sport still. He's got his own, he's got bars. He's got his whiskey brand. He's in Roadhouse. He's in movies and commercials, doing all these things. Like, he is worth it. His name is worth something. But as of right now, is some of the best fighters in the world. I don't think he's on that list anymore at his weight class. And
because
he needs to fight just 10 to 15s, top 10 to 15 guys, not these top 3s.
I don't know. I just don't know if is it worth it for him to fight 10 to 15s?
At least a tune-up fight.
I mean, what else is he fighting?
Chandler wins, he gets a title shot because he fought McGregor,
Yeah.
What does Conor McGregor get out of fighting Michael Chandler? Does he get the title shot after? Because they're just going to give it to Chandler if he wins because it's just off the clout. It's easy to sell that story.
I think, but I also think McGregor easily gets a title shot if he beats Chandler because he's McGregor. And Chandler's also one of the top ranked lightweights in the world too. So
But like the fight is out of the weight class. It just
Chandler,
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for Chandler to fight at 170 when he's a 155er. And what is he going to do? So he beats McGregor at 170, a guy who's got a broken leg coming off 4 losses. And you're going to fight him, and for some reason you get a title shot at 155 because you beat a 170-pound, old, washed-up, broken leg Irishman? Like,
I don't know.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. That's why I'm like, it doesn't advance anybody.
And I don't know if I want.
I don't know if I want to see McGregor.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see McGregor at 170. Like, let's say he tries to move up to welterweight or something, or he sticks at that weight class and actually fights, true welterweights. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to see that either.
Would you want to see him fight Usman at 170?
Yeah,
I would rather see him fight 170 guys and leave 155 in the past. Like, just get over that division. You won it. You conquered it. You were the champ. You were the double champ at 145 and 155. Do something at 170 now. Go for that.
You think he can beat guys at 170?
Yeah.
And you think he could beat Usman?
I think he could beat Usman.
What about Rakhmonov, though?
Rakhmonov is a different story. I think there's certain matchups where I really like it. And actually, I think he could probably smoke Rakhmonov.
I don't know if anybody can beat Rakhmonov. He looks scary as hell.
It's as much as I doubt Conor McGregor, he still has a few of these tools that are very unique. And he's got a lot of stuff to take people out. But Rakhmonov just has these takedowns, Even if in as hard as you hit him, he doesn't go down. But at 170, You see how McGregor's built at 170? I think he can fight off some of the wrestling better at 170 than he has in the past.
And I will say, in some of the, I don't know if the training videos mean a whole lot or anything, I thought he looked really good in the training videos. I thought he looked quick. I thought his leg kicks look quick, his punches look, and it's obviously you have the angles, you can have it positioned however the way you want it to. And it's a different ball game when you're actually in the octagon and whatever. But I thought he looked really good before he got it.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. So, like, he has a lot of stuff. He's got a lot.
But I don't know if there's just too much ring rust now for him.
Yeah.
If he's really into it, if he's that invested. Because we know years ago he would have fought with a broken toe.
Right. That toe did look bad.
And he has fought through injuries before.
It was a purple toe. You seen it? Not that I looked for McGregor feet pics, but
no, I seen it.
I seen it on the TL.
Yep. You weren't looking for him. You weren't.
I wasn't looking for him. I tell you that.
Hey, you weren't.
I was scrolling and I seen a purple toe.
Hey, man, I had to look.
Whose toe is that?
Whose toe is that? That's McGregor.
It's McGregor's toe. Goddamn.
All right.
All right. Let's get to the real knit and grit of this episode. And it's the NBA trade season, so we could talk a little bit about that, and I'll dive into the draft. So to start off, we do have some breaking news happened in the past hour. Pistons hire J.B. Bickerstaff as their head coach. He's coming off 2 consecutive playoff runs with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I believe he's signed for the next 5 years. That's his contract. I don't know the numbers on the deal, but I just know that it's for 5 years.
Yeah, good luck with that team, bro.
Right, good luck with that team. But, hey, they got a lot there that they could develop. You got Cade Cunningham. You got Ron Holland in the draft that they just picked up. You got Duran.
I love Duran.
I don't know about Beef Stew. I don't think he has too much top-end talent. You got Thompson, one of the Thompson twins.
Simone Fontecchio was hooping out.
Fontecchio is balling.
He was hooping out when he joined the Pistons.
Can't sleep on Simone Fontecchio. They got some guys. I like what the Pistons have. It's just the lack of shooting scares me because you're talking about Beef Stew is one of the best shooters on the team.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey cannot shoot. His 3-ball is scary. Oh, my God.
It's very inconsistent.
Very bad.
Yeah, I'd say it could get better.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he can never work on his shot. I think Jaden Ivey, out of everybody, could have a great shot.
It can't get much worse than Jaden Ivey.
Like Thompson, I don't think he'll ever have a good shot. He'll never be a 40% guy, a 38% guy.
Yeah, that's rough.
Ivey has a chance to be if he really cleans it up, takes away some of the stupid threes, and just overall just works on his form, gets better. I think Ivey has that potential. Cade, same thing, could be a good shooter. Ron Holland is the one question of the draft, and I actually really liked in an interview that I seen of him. I said it already. Ron Holland is my lock of the draft. Lock. He was drafted 5th by the Pistons, and he's even going to the worst organization in the NBA. And I'm willing to say that this is my lock. That this guy will be one of the best players in this draft when you look back in 10 years. Even though going to the worst organization in the league. I still think that Ron Holland has it. He's got a lot of talent. And he was comparing himself to Jaylen Brown, which I really like too. You know, like thought that was a really great comparison. Most of these guys, oh, I'm Paul George. Everyone fucking wants to be Paul George. Paul George don't even want to be Paul George. So why do you want to be Paul George? You know what I'm saying? Like all these Brandon Miller, Paul George is my GOAT. Okay.
Well, they just like his game.
Right?
Like,
he's just 6'8" with handle and a 3-point shot. I mean, he had a great, run against the Heatles with LeBron and everything, and he had his wars, but he hasn't really had anything since. Let's be real.
No, he had
the MVP season with the Thunder, and that's probably it. But since then, it's been broken legs, inconsistency, in and out of lineups.
Well, this season
playoff P.
But this season he actually played a lot.
He did, but he's still playoff P.
He was still playoff P. He played really well in the regular season.
Yeah, but every time playoffs come up, he never is that same guy that he is in the regular season.
Right.
He was with the Pacers, but since then, no.
But speaking of Paul George, we could see him signing his contract today, right? Or not signing his contract today, but picking a team. Because he's meeting with the Clippers. Who is it? The Clippers, Magic, and the 76ers. Mm-hmm. I would really like – that would be cool to see him on Philadelphia.
It would be.
If Embiid stays healthy, that's the only question. Mm-hmm. If he can stay healthy, they're a true contender, I think, in the Eastern Conference. And they can add some more pieces. Maybe somehow you trade that Tobias Harris contract too. You have Tyrese Maxey, who seems just like he's getting better and better every season. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I like that team. If Harris
used to be on the Clippers too, so maybe if there's a good connection, there's no bad blood. Maybe they trade PG for Tobias Harris. They do some sign and trade or whatever they have to do to make it work, and I can see that. Like I said, as long as he's cool with the Clippers organization still, and there was nothing weird on the way out. If PG's leaving or you can't afford his $50 million and you don't want to give him the max, why not? Why not take Tobias Harris? It is what it is, and you just play through it.
And why would he go to the Magic? Just to get the bag?
I guess they have a really big contract slot that they could sign. They could give a max deal out, but you're still lacking a point guard, right? With the Magic, So then, you're starting? Fultz, or who are you starting? Cole Anthony?
No, they've been starting Fultz, I think.
Yeah, so you're starting Fultz, PG, Franz, Paolo,
and
Carter, or Isaac?
Probably Carter.
So who knows? I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they have the space for it, and that would be good in the East.
Yeah, I mean they're a playoff.
East is pretty weak.
Yeah, because they're a playoff team without Paul George. So
did they finish 4th or 5th?
Where did the playoffs start? Let me see.
Apparently, PG wanted to join the Warriors. That's been the recent rumor.
It
was a trade in the works, and I guess the Clippers went back on their word. Like they worked out the whole trade. They talked it over with Steph Curry and Draymond. Everything was cleared. Something was a hiccup.
The Magic finished 5th in the Eastern Conference last year.
Yeah, 5th. Yeah. So if you add Paul George to that, and I mean, you're not starting Jalen Suggs anymore. And he was like, did he make it to an all-defensive team? I
think he did.
Yeah. So you're gonna bench all first or a second team defender,
right?
Some of it's just weird. I don't know where it exactly fits. But I would much rather get a guard. If I was the Magic, I would want like a Darius Garland. You trade for Garland, you have Garland, Suggs, Franz, Paolo, Carter. That's decent.
That's a playoff team in the Eastern
Conference. That's a real squad.
That's a real playoff team in the Eastern Conference. And then you got Mo Wagner, you got Cole Anthony coming off the bench, Jonathan Isaac coming off the bench. That's not a bad team.
And what I really like about it is you can't go under screens with Garland.
Right.
And that's what opens the whole floor up for the rest of them, because you got Franz, who's a slasher. You got Paolo, who's just got kind of a 3-level scorer, but he loves going inside that 3-point line. You know, the midi for him, the post moves, everything else like that. So if you're doing something as Darius Garland and you're doing a pick and roll on the wing, and now both guys are coming up and one's got to go over the screen, the defense is at your mercy now, because now you got the defense a little bit staggered, and now Franz can attack from the opposite side, or Paolo, or, I mean, a backdoor cut, whatever you see, a corner 3 from Suggs. There's a lot of opportunity there with Garland at the point.
Yeah, so you could just strengthen your defense right there. But I
don't know about their defense. Maybe they could, because they could afford to have more defenders out on the court, and they could afford to have potentially less spacing because Darius Garland provides his own spacing.
Yeah, I don't think Garland's a bad defender.
He offers more spacing than Fultz, I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. You strengthen your defense. I think he's a better defender than Fultz is.
I don't know if Garland's a better defender than Fultz.
I don't know.
Garland's like 6 feet. He's skinny.
I'd probably take Fultz. I'd probably take Garland.
You'll take Garland on defense? He's got quick hands. I'd say that. He has active hands on defense, but he's too small for me. I wouldn't say he adds defense. I would say maybe I'm not saying the lineups could be more flexible and have more defenders in there because of him, but I wouldn't say he's the best defender.
I'm not. He's the best defender. I don't think he's going to put your defense over the top or something. Or I just think he's a better option than what Fultz is.
Oh, yeah. Overall, he's definitely a better option than Fultz. So then what else is there? So we got DeJounte Murray, big trade. DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. And it's good that he's not like looked at as the second option anymore and like forced to be that guy, which I kind of like.
I like the trade more for the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks get Larry Nance Jr., Dyson Daniels, the 21st, the first pick in 2025 by the Lakers, which is huge because if the Lakers blow it up next year or even have a bad year this year, it's pretty good.
Right. Then they have another pick, right? They have
another. And then they get a 2027 Milwaukee first swap. So whichever is the better pick, they could choose.
Right.
That's really good. 2 firsts, a future player. Then you got Nance, who's solid.
And he also, Trae Young, he's the best lob passer in the NBA. He could be throwing lobs to Nance all the time.
I think Nance is better than Okongwu. He does everything Okongwu does, maybe a little bit less on defense because Okongwu is like a straight-up specialist.
Yeah, I would take Okongwu.
But you offer the spacing. I think Larry Nance is a better lob catcher than Okongwu, and he's a better shooter.
But I think Okongwu's getting better. I think he's improved every season. I think Nance is kind of what he is now.
But, I mean, that's good for what you want a guy like that. We've seen that to where in last episode we were doing, I was saying there's a certain meta play style to actually win in the NBA, but then I think the Celtics were just a perfectly balanced team that beat that. But same as Trae, it goes for Luka. Those guys are kind of similar players, Right. And whatever works for Luka is going to work for Trae Young, like I said, because they play the point guard. They're very heliocentric. The ball's in their hands most of the time. But if you could kick out to a Larry Nance to hit a 3 and also have the lob threat from him, that's a huge victory. And he's already polished, like it's like getting a PJ Washington in there instead of having just some young guy who's trying to figure it out.
But Nance can hit the 3 once in a while too.
Yeah. So, and then Dyson Daniels, he's a great playmaker, elite defender, very slept on that side. People don't talk about his defense enough. I love the way he plays defense. You get the future Lakers pick. You get the future Milwaukee pick. It looks good for Atlanta. That's actually a pretty good trade by the new GM, Landry Fields, former player.
And I don't like it for the Pelicans. I think you could definitely trade Brandon Ingram now. Now it seems more than likely Ingram is gone. Maybe McCollum. I don't know. I think I would keep McCollum. I mean, he's a better. I mean, I think he could distribute a little bit better. I think Ingram needs the ball in his hands. I think Murray needs the ball in his hands. McCollum's going to have the ball in his hands a lot too. So I don't know. I think I would probably trade Ingram.
Yeah, I'd probably say get Ingram out of there.
I don't see how all 4 of those players play together.
I'd rather have Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy shoots from the 3. Ingram shoots from 18 feet.
Yeah, and they're all starters. I mean, Ingram, I mean, if you're talking about Well, if you don't include Zion, but those three are starters, and Murray, Ingram, and McCollum. So I don't see how that works.
Yeah.
So
So it's either you trade Trey Murphy or you trade Brandon Ingram, but I would much rather trade Brandon Ingram.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You trade him to like the Bulls or something. Like, I don't know what you trade him for. I don't know how you do it, but you just move him.
Right.
You dump him to any team. The Nets could take that because now they're missing a wing scorer.
True.
You know, maybe the Nets could give you some stuff, whatever, some win now pieces. If you could give up Brandon Ingram for maybe Cameron Johnson and like someone else, that's a win for each team. Because Cam Johnson's going to play a role better than Brandon Ingram will. He'll offer way more spacing than Brandon Ingram will. He's closer to a Trey Murphy than an Ingram, you know? But I would rather have Trey Murphy over Cameron Johnson.
And Cam Johnson has been brought up in a lot of trade talks too. So
yeah, he has, because the Nets are really going to blow it up.
Right.
It's Cam Thomas season.
Oh, and we got to talk about, speaking of trades, your boy, your man's, the face of the Nets. He's gone.
I know. Cam Thomas is officially the face of the Nets. This has been a 4-year, really trudge through the mud, you know? What?
A nightmare.
It's been tough, you know? But I went through the same thing. I got thick skin. I went through the same thing with Giannis, and I said it how it was. Giannis is going to be the best player in this draft. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that he was drafted at 15th by the Bucks. He is the best player in the draft, and this is what's going to happen, and that's what happened. Same thing. It took me a very long time. The first season watching Giannis, his rookie year, they won 15 wins. 15. How much does it take to win a championship in the playoffs? How many wins do you need?
16.
I
can't do math.
Giannis went from getting 15 wins his rookie year to getting 16 playoff victories in his like 7th or 8th year in the league.
Yep.
You know, like that's true growth. You really hit rock bottom and got it up from the mud. Like that is truly the definition of it. And I feel like Cam Thomas is going to be in a similar situation. You know, like he started off actually pretty hot, if you really think about it. Like Kyrie, Harden, KD was there, but he didn't really get those early minutes. He had to do it in the G League. So it was a little bit different trajectory, but same problem. Then they blow up the squad. Then he's still getting his minutes played with, and he's not getting the full reins of the team at the same time as they're tanking. They're trash. They're not even supposed to be a good team. Right. They overachieved last year on the backs of Cam Thomas, and I'd say that's pretty much it. You know, I thought Dodo played pretty decently. Claxton wasn't even there the whole year last year. Bridges is consistent, but I really think it was CT. Who else was a ball handler?
Yeah, there wasn't really much else there.
There wasn't. It was gross. They wouldn't even play Lonnie Walker by the end of the year. And I thought Lonnie Walker was one of the best players on the team other than Cam Thomas. And they both had $2 million contracts.
Yeah,
the cheapest deals on the roster, and those were the best two players.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker was playing really, really well early in the season because he showed a lot of promise the previous season with the Lakers. Yep. But then this season with the Nets, he was a little bit banged up. But when he was on the court and healthy, he was playing really well.
I know. He looked like sixth man of the year in the beginning of the season.
He was certainly there.
Yeah, and then you got $40 million with Ben Simmons, and he won't do anything. So, you know, you just have all of these problems on the Nets team that's holding it back. And I think it's going to make what I think the best player on the team even better. He's going to overcome all of this and then never want to go even close to that ever again. And he's going to prove it. So let's see it this year. He's probably going to have a bad year. I think everyone's going to have a bad year on the Nets.
They got Bogdanovich back. They got Bojan Bogdanovich back too.
They do. They got the OG bogey.
Yep. And I thought the Knicks gave up a lot. Is Bridges really worth 4 first-round picks? I mean, he's a very good player. I understand. I get it. You don't like him. He had a down year last year.
It's not that I don't like him. I still think he had 40-point games. He's a very consistent scorer, and he will go over there to the Knicks and be a great player.
Because every year he was improving aside from last year. Last year was just a down year for him. We saw it with Phoenix, and then in I think it was 26 games he played with the Nets. He was averaging however many points he was, helped him lead him to a playoff spot. They got swept by the 76ers in the first round, but it seemed like it was kind of exciting to be a Brooklyn Nets fan right there. There was a lot of promise, and now you trade him.
For half a second, but they refused to play Cam Thomas.
Right.
He got to the playoffs and then said, we're not starting him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The organization really stresses me out. I don't think they've ever embraced him. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But
And
yeah, you're right.
I think it's a better. And I think it's a better situation for Mikal Bridges too, because I've never really seen him as a number one option.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd much rather have him be the number two option. Jalen Brunson, obviously the number one option. I think Bridges is a great number two option. I think he's a. You think Randall's ahead of him?
You think Randall's gonna be feeding him the ball? You think that's his play style?
No, I think
Julius Randall's gonna be a point forward next season.
Well, I'm saying I trust Bridges to score more consistently than Randall. That's why I'm saying I think he's a number two option. But yeah, I mean, I guess Randall, when he has the ball, he's not necessarily going to give it up a lot. Even though Randall can be a really good passer when he wants to be.
He was an All-NBA player 2 years ago before getting hurt.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to come back and want to be the third fiddle.
I still would have Bridges ahead of Randall. To me, yeah. I think he's a more consistent scorer.
Yeah, with age on his side and efficiency, I would say it's Mikal Bridges, but who Julius Randle is a little different.
And Randall kind of seems miserable a lot too. So I don't know if he's really going to go for all that. He always seems miserable on the court. He's always annoyed.
Every other year, his attitude switches. He'll have good body language, bad body language. So I think this year he'll come back with good body language.
You think this past season it was bad? I thought it was better this year. I thought 2 years ago it was bad. No, I thought 1 year ago it was bad. This year it was better. Or this season it was better before he got hurt. So I think this year might be a down year or something. Bridges comes.
It should be a vibe, though. It really should be. Like, it should be a good situation for these guys.
The Villanova Knicks. I mean, I like it. I think the Knicks gave up a lot. 4 first-round picks for Bridges is a lot, but I think they're right there.
It's actually not 4. I want to read you what they are. People are getting this wrong.
Oh, I thought it was 4.
Let me read it to you. 4 unprotected picks from the Knicks specifically. So these are the 4 unprotected. It goes 25, 27, 29, 31. So I know you don't play 2K anymore. I don't think you have it. But
wait, your speaker sounds crazy right now.
Hello? You hear me?
I can hear what you're saying, but it's like, I don't know.
Is it really? It's scratchy?
Yeah, it's real scratchy. I mean, I can hear what you're saying.
Hold on, let me turn the air off. Let's hope we're back on. All right, can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you fine either way, but it was just it sounds I can't explain it. I don't know. It sounds scratchy or something.
That's weird. It hasn't been scratchy the whole time?
No, it just happened. Whatever. 30 seconds.
Damn. All right. Well, it's because the government don't want me to break this down because no one else.
It went away now.
All right. Good. See, caught you, government.
Government almost got you. See that they saw it.
So from the stipend rule, or the stipend rule, something like that. I forget how it's pronounced. But basically, you can't trade back-to-back first-round picks. You could swap in between, but you can't do back-to-back unprotected. So 25, 27, 29, 31. 4 unprotected picks. And then there's a 28 swap. First-round swap, too. So people are missing that one, so that's 5. 5 Knicks first-round picks. You got the 1 swap. Also, a 2025 Milwaukee first. That's 6.
Oh, so
plus a 2025 second-round pick. That's 7.
So you're giving
7
up
picks.
You're gonna
6
have
firsts.
6. Wow.
6 firsts, 1 second-round pick. I did all the research on it. I did the math. Like, people are spreading fake news. Like, they traded 6 first-round picks and 1 second-rounder for him, and they traded, I believe, a second-round back.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really a lot.
So, yeah, the Knicks only got Mikal Bridges and a second-round pick back. That's what they got for 6 firsts and 1 second.
Yeah, to me, that's a lot. I mean, Bridges is a very good player. I think he's going to be a very good piece to this Knicks team, but I don't know. 7 picks seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, but, like, sometimes you have to overpay for things that are the perfect situation.
Right. And plus, you're also making, your top players happy, and Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson. So
you're getting more out of them.
It doesn't really hurt to have your star players happy. Kind of like drafting Bronny James too. It doesn't hurt to have your star player, the face of the league, happy with the organization.
And it's more marketable. It's good for their brand, their podcast. They just had Tibbs on the podcast. It seems the Knicks are really family oriented. And if you really look into it, you got Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad, Worldwide West, who's worked with him forever. And he's the GM. And yeah, so it's just like, and then you got Leon Rose, he's the real GM.
Yeah, and we haven't seen this in so long for the Knicks.
Right. So it's like something that they have to capitalize on. The city is rallied around Jalen Brunson. Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great situation. I know they overpaid, but this is the only guy that, even if it doesn't match his value, it's worth overpaying for. Like if this was for Embiid, I wouldn't say it's an overpay. Where the fuck are you gonna find Embiid at? Where are you gonna draft another Embiid?
I know that's different. You might have to give up 10 picks for Embiid.
7'2", 300 pounds, and plays like a guard. Where are you gonna find that guy?
Yeah, you'd have to give up at least 10 picks to get Embiid, though.
This is like a haul that I think you would get Embiid for.
Right.
But what I'm saying, and I would feel like, whatever, like 5-6 first round picks for Embiid. Like you're not gonna find another Embiid. He's a one of one, so it's worth that. But yeah, with Mikal, it's a little different. But you're getting a guy for Tibbs that plays 40 minutes a night and doesn't miss any games.
He's going to be missing some this season.
He may. He really may. This might be the first year he misses time.
No, Tibbs is going to kill this man.
Yeah, I mean, but he's the Iron Man. Like, he matches everything Tibbs wants to do. He's a 6'6" wing. He shoots threes. He plays defense. He can work in between. You know, he doesn't have the best ball handling, but I think it's solid. I really believe in this. I think it's a great move, and it's the only guy that I would ever endorse this type of overpayment on, is because he's there with all of his best friends. They won 2 national championships together. I respect that. Like, they win shit together. They actually get this done. So, and it's also built to beat the Celtics. Yeah, that's the other thing. They have OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. So now you have an answer for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, and I think they're right there as far as anybody else in the East. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think it's them and the Celtics. Unless I think you could throw Philadelphia in the mix as well if they get Paul George.
I'd say if the Knicks hold on to some bigs, it's them. They're the second place team. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how good Embiid is. He can't do it.
But I think Philly
can last all season and have a better record than the Knicks.
And I think Philly needs more pieces. I don't know if Paul George, just one player, is going to be enough. They don't really have much of a bench either. Philadelphia, they don't really have much else aside from Tyrese Maxey if they get Paul George and Joel Embiid.
Could they be a team that maybe trades Tobias Harris to the Brooklyn Nets and some picks for like a Cameron Johnson, Dodo? Dodo's a great player still.
I would love that for the 76ers to have a piece, to have a shooter surrounding Embiid and Maxey. And then if you're able to get another big free agent, they need, they just can't get one.
That's what I think the 76ers need. More than a star, they need pieces. They need depth. And I think if you could trade a big ticket guy to a tanking team that wants to take on a big deal, doesn't really want to have all these guys who could be, helpers on a contender, I don't think they want that. They probably want a guy they could dump it to. They could put his face there, a $35 million wing like Tobias Harris. It's a perfect guy to kind of advertise on a bum squad. And it just works out.
But another question is does any of this matter if Embiid isn't healthy?
That too.
Matter if you get you get some pieces like we talked about Cam Johnson. Let's say you get Paul George. Does that really matter if Embiid isn't healthy? That's a big thing.
No, but they did draft Adom Bona.
Okay.
Adom Bona from UCLA. He's a hustle guy. They got him in the second round, but he might be the most athletic player in the draft, or one of them. Like he's incredibly strong, fast for his size. Doesn't have the best shooting, but he hustles hard. There aren't many guys that hustle harder than Adom Bona. So at least they got a hustle guy off the bench too. And if Embiid's out, you're going to have this guy in there, and he's just going to try to eat glass the entire time.
Yeah, because Paul Reed sucks.
Yeah, B-ball Paul, like, he had a lot of upside. He's this guy who's really good in between, but he doesn't have these skills that really take you to the next level as an NBA player.
Right.
No real bankable skill, but he has like everything else. Like in theory, you're like, oh, he could play defense, he could rebound, he could do all these things, but
He can't.
he's not a complete player.
Yeah, he can't do it for an extended period of time.
He's like a Poku at times, you know, like he's better than Poku, but like there's moments where you watch Poku and you're like, this guy's got potential. And then there's other times you're like, what the hell were you thinking?
Right.
In no universe that works. In little third grade basketball that doesn't work. And what the hell are you trying? You know, so there's just moments with him that I really don't like. So yeah, I think Adon Bona coming in, and he's already a vet. You know, he's played a couple years in college, and I think he'll be fine. Right? I think he'll be solid. Obviously won't offer spacing, but just a hustle big, and does better than B-ball Paul. We got a ton of other stuff. I mean, we got Tim Hardaway Jr. getting traded for Quentin Grimes and 3 second rounders.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
I think that's great. For a new young team over there that needs some shooting, you know, that's awesome. And it brings a vet over there. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a vet. His dad was in the league. So you're getting like a little bit of a pedigree, and you're getting somebody who knows how to do it, you know?
I think Dallas also gets rid of that contract too.
Yeah, they free up some space. They bring in QG. And I like him. You know, he shoots threes. He plays defense. They don't need guys who do more than that. And Tim Hardaway Jr. has a little piece of him that wants to be the third wheel. You know, he wants to be that third scorer. That's not what this team needs to win.
He's the definition of inconsistency.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
He could go on some amazing streaks. And also, he has one of the best shooting forms in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, his follow through, how high he gets off the ground when he shoots the ball. It's beautiful, but it's just he doesn't do it enough. I mean, he doesn't put the ball in the hoop enough. Because we know he has the capability of scoring a lot of points. He's had some big games, but you know, he had some moments with the Knicks. But man,
overall, I think it's a good move for the Dallas Mavericks because you're trading for Quentin Grimes. He's on a smaller deal, and then also you're trading for 3 second rounders. So that means that you could basically get a big contract. You could sign someone else, bring them on the squad, and then you're just drafting second rounders on cheap deals. So let's say you got these guys on cheap deals, so that offers you some leniency in the paying more for better players. So this is going to make their team better overall, and I think Quentin Grimes fits what they want to do better. And yeah, you're right. Tim Hardaway Jr. is too inconsistent to be the third guy on a team, especially because he doesn't offer too much defense. You got Kyrie, you got Luka. Then you got Tim Hardaway Jr., so that's 3 guys that really don't play D like that. Yep. I know Kyrie hustles hard in the playoffs, and he really does step it up a notch. But regular season, you don't have 3 guys that play defense in your front court. That's bad. So good thing to move him. Quentin Grimes is going to come in. He's going to be in a winning situation. He's going to play hard. Another trade. Raptors trade with the Kings. They send Jalen McDaniels, not Jaden McDaniels, Jalen McDaniels, other brother. For Sasha Vezenkov, who was a rookie last year from Europe. He was MVP, I believe, of the Turkish league.
He's got a nice.
Dude could score. He's pretty solid. So I like Vezenkov. And he's going like international. So like he's like playing for Canada. He's already this international player. Now he's playing for the international team in the NBA, which is kind of cool. Also, Davion Mitchell got sent there with the 45th pick. So hear this out. So with the 45th pick, they got, like I said, Davion Mitchell, but they pick from Houston Jamal Shed, who is like a 6'1" point guard who plays defense. What's Davion Mitchell? A 6'1" guard who plays defense. So they kind of did some duplicative. I can't even say the word right now.
Duplicity? Is that how you say it?
There's some duplicity there.
There you
duplicative.
Go.
That's how you say it. But yeah, there's too much duplicity there, and they're basically the same player. You know, we don't know what Jamal Shed could be in the NBA yet. We know Davion Mitchell's potential because I don't think there's really like too much growth that he could really go. But yeah, Jamal Shed, they draft him, basically a clone of Davion Mitchell, a little bit less offense in college too, because you got to remember, Davion Mitchell was busting ass when he was in college. He was known as Off Night because everyone he faced, he locked them up and then he busted your ass. So, like, you had an off night on defense and offense if you were facing Davion Mitchell.
Right.
And he's actually Bronny's getting compared to Davion Mitchell. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Also, AJ Griffin gets traded to Houston for the 44th pick in the second round.
I saw that. Yep.
That was pretty interesting.
I'm surprised Atlanta gave up on him that quick.
Me too. And he's a former, NBA player, NBA player's son. But if you know anything about last year, they gave up on his dad pretty quick too.
On a 30-13 record, which is crazy.
And the only thing Doc Rivers did, crashed it into the ground. You want to know the worst thing I heard all year? Oh my God, this is a little sidebar, then I got to get back to Adrian Griffin. Doc Rivers, you know what he said this offseason? I want to be more aggressive, no more drop coverage. What the fuck did Adrian Griffin get fired for? Please tell me, like, I bet you know. What do you want to do with Brook Lopez?
Not put him in drop coverage?
Not put him in drop coverage, and that had a team meeting, and they all cussed him the fuck out and told him we're not doing that shit, and we're going back to our drop.
Giannis didn't like that.
Giannis doesn't like anything but drop coverage. What are we doing? In this offseason, the first thing Doc says is we're getting out of drop, and we're getting rid of Brook.
It's funny. I remember when we were talking however many months ago, and they were saying and Doc Rivers was like, I don't even know why they offered me the job. I still can't believe he said that. I still can't believe he said that. What? And he was like, oh, I had other jobs available too. So take those jobs if you don't want the Bucks job. You don't want to coach Giannis. Okay. Then
and
don't
he
coach.
signs like a 4-year deal too. Like he's here long term.
They're paying 3 different coaches. Some idiots over there.
Truly.
The
Bucks are a terrible organization right now. Terribly ran. They sold the team last year.
Yeah, you got Dame 3 or 4 years late.
New ownership. You got Dame late. Giannis got 1 year left, and he's out.
Yeah, you signed Middleton to a ridiculous 3-year, close to $100 million contract. I don't know what they're doing over there. You're getting Patrick Beverly. Like that's gonna do anything.
And then their draft picks. I actually think they hit one out of the park with Tyler Smith in the second round. That dude was a stud in the G League. Like you had Ron Holland on the team. He took a lot of shots, took a lot of the ball, took everything basically with ball handling. He's the guy who's like, I want to be like Jaylen Brown. He averaged 20 points in the G League, and he was the youngest player in the G League.
Wow.
Yeah, youngest player in the league, and he averaged 20. His shooting percentages weren't too hot. He had some turnovers, but I mean, he's an 18-year-old in the G League. Like Nobody played well on that G League Ignite team. That's why they disbanded it. But I thought Tyler Smith was the most efficient player on the team. He's 6'11", plays the power forward position, not a great defender. He's not in the best shape either, like body-wise. I think he could definitely tone it up a little bit. He still has a little bit of a kid body. But at the same time, he's 6'11", and he's got a lot to his game. He crashes the glass, and he could shoot threes. And I love that about him. So the fact that you could have, Giannis, maybe you could throw him at the 5 when you go small ball, and you could bring in Tyler Smith, who could hit threes. The one thing that was questionable, and I predicted it on my mock draft, both rounds, by the way, they draft A.J. Johnson. I knew the Bucks would draft A.J. Johnson. And he's a kid from the NBL. He's from America, but he went and played in Australia for a year. He didn't want to go pro. He didn't want to go in the college. He didn't want to go G League, whatever. He just goes and plays the NBL. He averaged about 2 points a game and like less than Bronny. And he was drafted in the first round.
Because I see that, and people were knocking Bronny, and they were like, look at this kid.
Yeah. And you got him. A.J. Johnson, he reminds me of Hamidou Diallo. A guy with a lot of potential.
Athletic.
But lacking a lot of basketball skill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of what A.J. Johnson is right now, and I'm happy to stand on that. He's like a Hamidou Diallo type player. But I predicted it. I said in my first mock draft, I had him going 23rd to the Bucks. And in my second mock draft, I actually had him sliding to the Bucks at 33. So 23-33, still, every mock I did too. My first one and my final, I had AJ Johnson going to the Bucks. I heard a lot of stuff where they basically just wanted to get young guys and just kind of bring them in there and just build something, because clearly we know that the team's not going to be good.
Right.
Like they're not showing any signs of being good. You have aging Brook Lopez, aging Chris Middleton, aging Damian Lillard. None of them want to play defense to the level they were supposed to play at. It's just bad. It's a bad scene over there. I feel bad for Giannis. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. But we can get back to AJ Griffin. Adrian Griffin's son is traded to Houston. I think it's a great buy low move to get a guy who was like a blue chip guy coming out of high school, top 10 recruit, goes to Duke, does really well, shoots like 45% from three. I know he's got a little bit of a weird stance. He's kind of clunky. He doesn't move too fluidly like on the defensive end. He's got to learn how to flip his hips and get faster. But, I mean, he's pretty solid for a session.
How many game winners did he have in his rookie season? 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not a bum. I like AJ Griffin, but yeah, his family's having a tough time. He's getting dumped for second-round picks. His dad's getting fired for guys doing worse than him. Like 30-13 was his record, and then you bring in Doc, and he literally gets them to like a 500 record. How do you bring a team who's 13-30 to a 500 record almost? Like, this stresses me out just talking about it as a Bucks fan.
What were they, the number 2 seed at that point?
Yeah. And it was funny because, like I said, they were beefing with Griffin because he wanted to get out of drop coverage. And now you got Doc Rivers saying that's the only way we're going to get better.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Doc Rivers is running that team to the ground. We can move on from there.
Team to the ground.
He is. Is he not? Like,
no, he is, as he does with a lot of his teams.
And then the Rockets with this pick, sending it to Atlanta, they take Pele Larson, who was from Arizona, white dude, shooter, absolute shooter at 6'5". So they got a really solid guy, kind of like a Luke Kennard. You know, he could do some things, but mainly 3-point shooting is what you want from him. OKC and the Knicks trade. So the Knicks trade the 26th pick to OKC, and they draft Dylan Jones out of Weber State. He was a guy who averaged like 20, 10, and 5. You know, he's definitely like a one-man crew. But I don't know if he's going to get that in the league, and especially on OKC. You know, he's just a well-rounded player, and I think he knows how to ball. So he's good to have on the squad. He's probably going to be a G League guy, though. I don't think he's going to crack the rotation the way he would want to, and he's definitely not going to be able to play the way he wants to. We move on to Denver. Denver traded for the 22nd pick. They traded the 28th and the 56th pick to move up 6 spots. Thought that was interesting, and it was actually who I had mocked as well. So in the first round, I had at 28. So this is a little bit of a nuance to this. So at 28, I had the Nuggets drafting Day'Ron Holmes II. They trade up to draft him at 22. They trade their 28th pick. But I was on the money about teams and drafting for fit.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't exactly the same pick,
but it was the
same player, and they traded up for it.
Yeah, it was the same team.
Same team, too. So the Nuggets taking Day'Ron Holmes, I had that, and they traded up. The one thing I was really off on was the first pick, and I'm not too worried about it. I had Risa Shea going later, and I had Matas Buzelis going first. Buzelis ends up going 11th to the Bulls. And as I've said in the past, I find my guys that I like. I find the guys that I think actually have translatable ball skills. And let's see how it goes. Buzelis averaged over 2 blocks a game for the G League Ignite. Yeah, he shot like 28% from 3, but he was shooting 45% in high school from 3, which not a lot of these players actually average good percentages in high school. So he goes to the G League Ignite, and he's surrounded by guys who can't shoot. You know, Ron Holland shooting 20% from 3. And, like, the rest of their team shot like shit. So I don't think this guy's going to shoot great. Tyler Smith shot well, but he's a stretch 4. And I think the offense, you know, helped him out a little bit with that because he wasn't touching the ball much. He's not creating. So a lot of these guys were more shot creators than anything. But Buzelis on the defensive end, that's what people aren't talking about. It's what he could do on defense. He's a 6'9" shooting guard. You know, he could guard 2 through 4 at a high level. And I really like what Buzelis can do. So I'm still standing by it. I don't feel any regret in my bones. I feel like I'm laughing at whoever skipped him in the draft. But yeah, Ricochet, we'll see what happens, but I'm not as high on him as everyone else is. And I'm really willing to say that. I've even seen when Ricochet played Bronny James, and Bronny James scored more than points than Ricochet. And Ricochet was guarding Bronny James. Like, that's real. You can look it up. So, take it how you want it, but a second rounder busted his ass. The 55th pick in the draft wasn't really, going easy or anything. Like, you got Ricochet, number 1 pick in the draft, and he can't dominate Bronny. So, let's see how that goes. I think I did my homework, and I know well enough that Ricochet is not going to be worthy of being the best player in the draft. When we look back 10 years from now, lock it in. Like I said, Ron Holland will be a better player than Zachary Ricochet. And he was drafted 5th. To the Pistons, a bad organization. The Hawks have a winning culture and winning players and at least a better record, a better coach, too. I would take Quinn Snyder over J.B. Bickerstaff in his first year. Now you got Quinn Snyder going into his 3rd season as the head coach. He's got those red shades on. He's leading the way.
They look horrible, though.
They do. They look so bad. I had to bring them up.
They look like they don't belong on his face. You got to get a different pair of glasses.
Then there's Rob Dillingham, traded. This was one thing about my mock draft, and I kept saying it. None of the early teams make sense for Rob Dillingham. So I actually had him sliding to 21st, and he gets picked 8th. But I said a clause that no team really makes sense for Dillingham this early. They're not set up for him. There's no team that's bad that should take on Dillingham. And what happens? Minnesota Timberwolves, a win-now team, takes him because it makes a little more sense. And I'm pretty happy about that. Good for him. He's going to a winning situation. But the Spurs take on 31 first, 2031, and a 2030 swap. So they get 2 picks for trading the 8th pick. I don't know if they'll ever get that value back. You're not guaranteed to get an 8th pick again just because you have a first-round pick.
Yeah, that's a long time from now, too.
Yeah. Maybe they just don't want to have too many young guys around Wemby.
You should add some veteran pieces to that team.
They
don't really.
That's what it is. I think they're extending their draft capital, and then you could trade that 30 swap with someone else and do a trade, and then now you have 2 different trades potentially with the 31 pick and the 30 swap. So I think that's more just trade ammo than bringing in Rob Dillingham, bringing in all these young guys with bad habits and need to learn things. You don't want your whole team to be like that. We've learned some of the worst teams in the league stay the worst teams in the league because all they are young guys. Look at the Pistons. They keep getting top 5 picks. But what does it mean if you only have a team full of top 5 picks? You got Wiseman who wants to be a fucking superstar. You got Cade who wants to be a superstar. Everyone on that. Killian Hayes wants to be a superstar. Everybody.
The Wizards.
Yeah, now he's with the Wizards now?
No, I'm saying the Wizards have a bunch of young players.
Oh, yeah.
They're not winning.
Yeah, they can't figure it out. And sometimes it's because you have too many young guys. And I think the Spurs smartened up and they cut back on all the young guys that they're taking in because they have to be very careful with Wemby. They don't want him turning into something that they can't control anymore. They don't want him being some, willy-nilly guy. Like, the more he stays calculated and precise, the better he will be. And he will trend to being the next, maybe Kareem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has that potential. So we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I think it could be a smart move to not bring in Rob Dillingham, who might be wild his first couple of years and maybe not even be able to find himself. But they bring in a guy at 4, at like Stephon Castle. You watched a lot of UConn. 4 UConn guys are going to the league. You got Klingon. Let's call him Klingon. That should be his name. You got the alien in Wembanyama, and you got Klingon, the other alien. But Donovan Klingon, You got Stephon Castle, Tristan Newton, and Cam Spencer. So 4 people out of the starting lineup of UConn. The only guy who doesn't come over in the draft is Alex Caravan. And I actually thought low-key Caravan could have got drafted. 6'5" wing, plays the 2 and the 3. He's a little bit like Conchar. And I feel like he could hit the 3 at a wicked high level.
He can. His shot is hideous, but he can hit the 3.
There's a piece of me that thought Cam Spencer and Tristan Newton wouldn't get drafted as high as Caravan. Caravan ended up returning back to UConn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, UConn's still going to have some guys next year, shooters, and I love the situation for them. But what do you feel about Stephon Castle? And actually, he was a point guard in high school, and he's being labeled a point guard right now. So he's a big guard, 6'6". He could do that.
I really liked him at UConn, and obviously he was very talented to be in the starting lineup for a championship team. I thought it was kind of – I'm surprised he got picked that high. I mean, I didn't follow it obviously enough. I didn't think he showed that much at UConn to be able to be – I wished he would have stayed at UConn another season. But maybe that's just me being selfish about him, about UConn. But yeah, I'm surprised he got drafted that high. Donovan Clingan, we knew he was going to be a lottery pick. That's a good a good backup center for the Trailblazers, behind DeAndre Ayton. They got my man Duop Reith there too. And then the second round, we were just talking about it. The Pacers, it seems like all they have is guards. It's just guard overload with Tristan Newton. And then, Cam Spencer, he's a very good 3-point shooter. That's what I think he'll be really in the league. A guy who can just shoot the 3 ball. We really saw that at UConn this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I just don't know about Castle. Where was he? He was starting at the 3, right? Or was he the 4?
No, he wasn't the 4.
He was the 3,
yeah,
right?
More the 3, yeah.
Because then who's the other starter? It was Caravan?
It was Tristan Newton. No. Yeah, it was Tristan Newton, Cam Spencer, Stephon Castle, Alex Caravan, and Donovan Clingan.
And Caravan's a 6'5" guy who's not really like a big.
Right.
So, like, I know you could say it was basically like a 4-and-1, like 4 guards and a big.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could kind of say that. But, like, Castle was guarding 4s. I mean, he was guarding 1s. He was guarding everything.
Yeah.
But I really question, like, can he be that guy in the NBA? Is he ready to be a point guard? People are calling him Drew Holiday and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see that. To me, I didn't see that in college personally.
And I watched some of his high school stuff. And, I mean, he would just dribble the ball up the court and then pull up from 3.
Yeah, but obviously the Spurs see something in him. I don't know.
I think I see a lot of things with him, He's pretty athletic. He's not actually as freaky athletic as people think.
Right.
His measurements didn't come out perfect. If you look at his vertical, his standing vertical, and then his leaping, his running leap, it wasn't as high as you'd think. Right. I mean, it's still like maybe like 36. I think 36 inches. That's 3 feet. That's pretty good. But you had guys. Shit, Reed Shepherd. What did he jump? A 42?
Yeah, Reed Shepherd could jump.
I know he did a little bit of the arm trick, I guess, but still.
Right.
Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about the arm trick.
So basically, when they measured his standing reach, apparently he didn't reach as high as he could. Mm-hmm. I guess he put his shoulders down. There's a way to do it where you could kind of raise your shoulders and you actually manipulate your body to get a higher standing reach. He did the opposite to lower his shoulders under his shoulder blades or whatever. And he tried to do it like this. So his wingspan, everything is slightly off. So his measurements are kind of a lie. If you think his standing reach is 8'3", it might be 8'5", so it's 2 inches off. But that means his vertical is now 2 inches off. So if he jumped to 42, he really jumped to 40. There's some number manipulation there. But yeah, Castle, his athletic measurements weren't as good as what I thought. Especially watching him play, He's got really good bounce. He's got a good second jump. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be all right. I just don't know about the point guard label. The point guard in the NBA is intense. And for you to not even have point guard experience in college is weird. We'll see. We'll see.
He only averaged 2.9 assists in college.
Yeah, I mean, he was still a facilitator. It wasn't like he was a ball hog, a gunner, or anything like that. They played a very sound team-based system. passed. Everybody got shots up. No one was a ball hog.
For sure. Yeah,
I
that was
love the team. They felt like a little bit like the Celtics.
yeah, with their ball movement.
Their ball movement, the
They all
wing pressure, the spacing.
Yeah,
It
they
was a
all
pro-style offense. I really liked what they ran. So I think
Yeah.
Klingon's going to have a good time in the NBA. But, yeah, Castle, like, he's just getting labeled as a point guard. And I'm like, this guy's not a point guard. Like, if you put him at point guard, he has a potential to be fucking Ben McLemore or something.
Mm.
And I seen Ben McLemore in college. He was a beast, and he was a top 5 pick, the same way Stephon Castle was. And he wanted to be more of a guard than a wing defender. And I pray we don't run into that with Steph Castle.
Right.
He's a good shooter.
Well, he can't shoot as good as threes as Macklemore. Well, he's not really a good 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
He's better inside the point line.
Yeah. It's very interesting what he claims to be and what everyone is claiming him to be when I feel like I've watched him play. And that's all hypothetical, what they're talking about.
Right.
We can talk about what he does do, and what he does do is very good.
Mm.
But to call him this, like, point guard, 3-and-D point guard like Drew Holiday, like, no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. You, like I said, you watched him live more than I have. I caught a few UConn games even before the tournament, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say he was what they were claiming him to be.
I don't see the Holiday.
Yeah, I don't see the Drew Holiday comparison at all. Like, I think in the league he's going to forget most of his defense, and he's going to be more of an offensive first guy.
Right.
That's my read on who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep it moving. Denny Avdia for Malcolm Brogdon, the 14th pick in the draft, which was Bub Carrington, which I think was a good option for them. He's a pull-up shooting point guard. He's a little bit like Garland, if you could just kind of get a player comparison. Not exactly now 1-for-1. He's bigger. He's about 6'4", but he loves to pull up. He doesn't drive to the cup. So that's what you're going to get out of Bub Carrington. And then they got one other pick. What did they get? Oh, a 2029 second rounder. But still pretty good. You know, Malcolm Brogdon, I believe he's got a knee injury, and you're dumping Denny basically for some cap filler with Brogdon to get Bub to bring in a guard because they kind of got some wings, and Corey Kispert and Denny Avdia
doesn't really work.
If you're going to be a bad team, you don't need both of them. They're duplicative, and yeah, it just is what it is. Like, they're both 6'7". I mean, Denny's a little taller, and he boards up way better. But like, if you're going to get value while you're a bum squad, you're going to trade Kispert, and you're going to get nothing back that really makes you better. But if you trade Denny, who has a little bit more promise, is a little better player, a little more size too, then you'll get something worth a damn. And I think that's what they got. They got cap filler. They got a guard of the future because clearly they don't believe in Poole like that. Yeah, and then a second rounder in 2029. With who knows? You could grab a good, second rounder. People have done it before, so.
And I feel bad for Brogdon to be playing on these two teams, the Trailblazers and then the Wizards.
Yeah.
And to me, he seems like, and he was kind of banged up last year, and then you go back to the Eastern Conference Finals last season where he was playing really good until he had that forearm injury and really wasn't much of a factor in the Eastern Conference Finals. He won Sixth Man of the Year in his first year with the Celtics, former Rookie of the Year. So he's been pieces on good teams. So I would like to see him on some kind of contender.
He deserves this.
I feel bad for him.
I don't.
To be playing with
I understand what you're saying, but my heart doesn't bleed for Brogdon because he created this.
Mm.
You remember on the Bucks, he won Rookie of the Year, shot 40, 50, 90, and what did he want to be? The star. He didn't think Giannis was better than him. He said, it's me and Giannis's team. If anything, I'm the lead guard. I run shit. Giannis is the play finisher.
Mm.
That happened.
No respect.
They traded him to Indy. They didn't want to sign him. He said, I want a max deal. And I want to be the star.
The other thing is he's missed
kick rocks.
But the other thing is he's missed a bunch of games.
No, but I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's been hurt.
The Bucks. He had all these injury history going through the draft out of Virginia. Nobody wanted to touch him in the draft. They draft him. They call him Prez because I guess that was his nickname in Virginia because he was like very well spoken. He took hard college classes. He actually cared about his degree and everything else. And I think he did something else, like a student body president, or like he was involved in the school on another level than being just an athlete, you know?
Right.
So like everyone really respected him. They said he'd probably be a mayor one day and everything else. Like he's a very bright guy, but I do think he has a bit of this like irrational confidence. Like he's not that guy though. And he came, like I said, he came in with all these injuries. He was a very polished player, but he had bad knees and bad feet. And he didn't pass a lot of medicals. And the Bucks take a chance on him. He has a successful year. Even as a rookie, he didn't play the full season.
Just about.
Just about. I think he had, what, 70 games?
75. So
75.
that was,
So he played about that.
and
But
that was,
there was a lot of concern. And apparently he was playing through injuries. He was coming off the bench. He still wasn't getting like a full load and handling it. Pause. But it's like, that's just what it was, is these guys were like, he could only do 20 minutes a night and produce at this level. Like he's good, but like anything above this is he's going to wear down. And they knew that. They sent him to the Pacers. What did he do? Wore down immediately. The second he was a star of a team and got more attempts and had more ball pressure on him and everything else, he wore down. He got hurt. He was in bad situations. He take falls, and he's not a guy that could take falls. So
and that was back in the 2016-2017 season when he was a rookie with the Bucks. He played, as I said, 75 games. That's the most he's played in a single season in his NBA career.
Because he was coming off the bench and they peeped it. They said, like, behind the scenes, it was hard for this dude to get ready every night. Like, he went out there and played 75 games, but they seen it. They said, this guy is aging like crazy. Like, we can't invest in him in the future. He's already breaking down as a rookie. So that's what happened, and you've seen it. When it gets to the Pacers, he breaks down. He goes to the Celtics, plays a reduced role. But what happened at the Celtics? He said he wanted an increased role. He thought he could score better than Tatum and Brown. He thought he was a better player than them.
Maybe
what
he's not.
They got rid of him. They had to, because he's a cancer. He comes in and he thinks he's the man. You're not the man. It just is what it is. So he's had that. Every time he's in a winning situation, he wants too much. He's too greedy in a winning situation. So what did he get out of it? He got sent to Portland. He tried to pick a fake number, so they had to trade him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He picked number 92. Why? Because he said they're not going to let me play in 92. This is a fake number. Like, everything about him is kind of cringe when you really sit back and think about Malcolm Brogdon. So then he gets traded now as a contract because he's got bad knees, and I don't even think he's going to play like that next year. Gets traded to Washington. He gets what he kind of deserved, in my eyes. Like, you beat out Embiid for Rookie of the Year, which was deserving. Embiid played 31 games, and people were really trying to make a case for a guy who played a quarter of the season. And I took Brogdon's side in that, but I don't know, he got gassed up a little too much. Too big for his britches.
And for the few games he played last season, he played really well. I thought he was going to get traded to a contender last season, and that didn't happen.
Teams don't want him because he's going to go there and say he's better than Devin Booker
and get hurt.
And then get hurt. Like, that's the problem with Brogdon, is he just doesn't get it. No self-awareness to what he actually is. And what he is a great guy to play 20 minutes a night. He is going to be the most efficient guys in the league playing 20 minutes a night. But that's what he should be. And I love him in that role. He's a 6th man of the year candidate type guy. But you start him, you ask him to really lead your offense, play 35 minutes a night. He's not going to play 82 games.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So good luck to him. But yeah, just from my opinion, my heart doesn't bleed for Brogdon. I feel like he created every bad situation he's been in. Brooklyn. So we talked a little bit. This is the last trade that's happened in the past 2 weeks. So Mikal Bridges gets traded for 6 firsts and 1 second, so 7 picks in total.
Yep.
Now Brooklyn takes these picks and goes, hey, Houston, we want our picks back. So Brooklyn gets back their 26th, and they retract swap rights from the 25th. So they get next year's first back from Houston, which is theirs because it was a swap. And then in 26, they get their first back. And what they gave up was the Suns' 21st and the Suns' 29th. which could be consequential. We don't know what's going to happen to the Suns, but it looks like Ishbia is just going to keep spending money. For a little while, people thought, oh, he'll never just keep bad contracts. Bradley Beal, KD's getting old. Booker might want out. There's rumors to him to the Knicks. Now, I mean, that might be a little gone because Bridges is there, and they might not have the space for it, even though nobody is on a max deal on the Knicks.
Well, you're going to give Anunoby all that money too.
Now they got to give Anunoby the money. But yeah, so in 2029, I think the Suns are going to be trash unless Ishbia just keeps spending money and going over the cap. So this could be a good deal for Brooklyn. It's a little bit short-sighted. They want to own their pick so they can get Cooper Flag. They want to be bad and actually get the benefits of being bad. If they don't get their 25th pick back yet, then they're just going to be bad next year for no incentive. They're just hoping everyone else could be bad. So now they could actually focus on being bad and getting their pick, while hopefully everyone else, they could get some other good 2025 picks. But it looks like they got the Bucks 2025 pick, which shouldn't be that good, right?
Yeah, maybe 15, 20.
They got the Knicks pick that shouldn't be that good next year at probably 25.
Yeah, late in the first round. Yeah.
Late first round pick. Their other 2025 pick, I believe, isn't for a bad team either. So it's looking like it's basically just the Nets hoping that they get a high pick, and then they'll have a bunch of scraps at the end of the first round that they can maybe combine and trade up. So maybe you trade like a 19 and a 24 for a 11 or something like that. Like, that's probably somewhere where they're going to have to, have some conversations, talk to other GMs. But I think they could package some crap picks and get something else for it. So maybe they could trade up. But yeah, they needed that 2025 pick, or they're not getting Cooper Flag or a Cam Boozer. There's a few other players too. Ace Bailey, he looks pretty solid. I guess Rutgers has 2 top players coming in next year, and Rutgers is never good. So they must have paid out the wazoo, because getting 2 top 5 recruits at Rutgers is weird.
Right.
So we'll see how they do. I watched some Ace Bailey tape already. I know this is kind of early to do some draft work. But Ace Bailey, he's got some flaws in his game, so we'll see.
I like Cam Boozer. I seen him at Hoopall last year.
Yeah, Cam Boozer's got a really polished game.
He played against Bronny. Or not last year. No, it was last year. Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what it is. We'll have to wait until this draft class comes. Also, the kid out of Brockton, AJ DeBansa, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. 6'7" guy. Honestly, I think he might be the future. I really like AJ DeBansa. Like, he's got a game that, like, he looks a little bit like a big Anthony Edwards, which means Michael Jordan. Kobe.
Another one of MJ's sons.
No. Like, for real, though. Like, I'm telling you, this is a 6'6", 6'7" shooting guard who's real. Look up some AJ DeBansa.
AJ DeBansa. Okay.
Like, he's legit. We're going to be talking about him as the first round pick, or like first overall pick. I know he reclassified, but we'll have to see where and what draft class he goes in. He might be a 2026 guy. But if he is in 2026, he's the number 1 pick.
DeBansa.
Like, without a doubt. AJ DeBansa from Brockton, Mass. Love rooting for my Mass kids.
Where's Brock?
Brockton is like in Boston. It's like a Springfield of Boston, honestly. It's a pretty I don't know. It's the Springfield of Boston. Don't make me get into it.
And he's 17.
17. The kid is nasty, bro. Like, has like a Kobe type game in the same game he had in high school.
He got an offer from UConn.
Yeah, he's elite. He's a top 5 guy. So we'll see what's up with AJ DeBansa. My mock draft, we'll just touch on that real quick. I did pretty solid. Like I said, I didn't get the number 1 pick, but I did get Sarr going 2. Everybody and their mother was saying Alex Sarr, #1 pick for months, right?
That's what I heard for the most part. Yeah.
That's what everyone was saying. And I said, no, he's going second to the Wizards.
Yeah.
So I got that correct. Reed Shepherd going to Houston at 3. That one kind of blew my noggin, but it happens.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go more in like a big or a wing. Going a point guard was very interesting.
I feel like they have enough guards.
Me too.
I thought they had enough guards.
I think it says something to Jalen Green.
They don't want him.
They don't want him. They really
I don't want him. I don't want him.
You don't want him.
I don't want him.
Bill Simmons don't want him.
Yeah, Bill's definitely not.
Remember when he said "fuck Jalen Green" and everyone got mad?
He said that.
You don't know about that? So they were talking about the all rookie team, and they were like, he named his 5 all rookies, and they were like, what about Jalen Green? And they said, fuck Jalen Green. He just said it off the top, and he had to go on like an apology tour. He actually brought Jalen Green on his podcast, like apologized like 3 times, and they squashed beef. But like, it's kind of funny that he has real beef with him. Fuck Jalen Green. This is the funniest comment ever. I swear. Because he was more like, not like fuck him, like, you know, he could go die or something. Yeah. But it was more like, he's not on my list. He's like an inefficient, you know, scoring guy. Like, he just is what it is. He was liking and respecting different stat categories and more different play styles than just Jalen Green chucking up shots his rookie year. Because we all know Jalen Green's rookie year was ugly. Then he went to the slam dunk. He did the dunk contest. He fucking was hitting the ball off the backboard and missing dunks.
Because Jalen Green can score a lot of points, but it takes him a lot of shots to get there.
Yeah, it takes a lot of shots, and he's inefficient. He looks sloppy at times. He's very ambitious, and some of the plays he makes look terrible because he does too much, and he forces stuff that's not there.
And they were talking about him, how he took such a big leap this season or something. He had 1 month. Because
he had 1 month, and nobody talks about Cam Thomas.
And his numbers from his sophomore year were better than this year.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. People saw that 1 month and they're like, okay, this kid's something else.
He's back.
Yep. He didn't even average more points than he did the previous season.
All these podcasters just have a crush on Jalen Green. I remember when he was getting drafted, he just looks like a superstar. Like, just say you like his face.
Right.
Just say you didn't watch the tape.
No
Just say
homo.
you looked at him and said, yeah, he looks like he could be a star.
Yeah.
But like, for real, I mean, it's actually a shame. We'll see what Jalen Green has to do, though. See if he gets better. See if he gets moved. But yeah, it does seem like a plethora of guards. Like, there's way too much going on there. You got Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green. You got the Thompson brother, Amen. You got Cam Whitmore, who's like a shooting guard, small forward, kind of a combo guard. You know, you got a lot of depth. You got Reed Shepherd. You got Jalen Green. I even think they have someone else. Let me see. Rockets roster. So yeah, you got these are just the guards. I mean, Dylan Brooks is a small forward.
Oh, they got Holiday. They got Aaron Holiday too.
Yeah, so you got and AJ Griffin.
Now
you got Jalen Green, AJ Griffin, Aaron Holiday, Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson, Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, Nate Williams. I wouldn't even count Nate Williams or even Nate Hilton because they're both like little free agent signings. They're nothing serious. They're like 10-day contract guys. Yeah. So, I mean, they got a lot of guards, but I would say for point guards specifically, Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson could play any position. He's like a 1 through 3, maybe even a 4 at times, especially with Jabari Smith Jr. when he slides down to the 5. I think Amen Thompson, when they go small, is kind of fun at the 4. But yeah, they got Aaron Holiday, Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd. I guess 3 point guards. It's interesting. It is. But I'd say the 2 like most overfilled guard positions that I didn't like was honestly the UConn guards. Tristan Newton getting drafted to the Pacers sucks. He's never going to play.
Exactly.
He's a G League guy forever now. He's stuck. He's stuck behind so many people. Even Nemhart. Look at what Nemhart did last playoff run. You think he's getting his spot taken by Tristan Newton? No matter what he does. Tristan Newton can go in there and drop quadruple doubles in practice. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so he's still behind. He'll be behind Halliburton, Nembhard, McConnell. I guess Benedict Mathurin's more of a shooting guard. Still but so yeah, he's behind those guys.
Yeah, when you look at it, yeah, you got Halliburton, McConnell, Nemhard.
Yep.
Isaiah Wong plays the point guard. He doesn't really play too much. Ben Shepherd.
Ben Shepherd played some meaningful minutes last year.
He did.
He was in the starting lineup in some of the playoff games. So
yeah. So like you got all these guys. I named five guys who handle the ball before Tristan Newton.
Yep.
And he's like older too. So like typically the older guys, you bring them in just to be play ready, but this team doesn't need that. Same thing when you go to the Grizz. You look at all the shooting guards over there. I mean, they did just deny, which I didn't know before, Luke Kennard's not getting his option picked up. So maybe Cam Spencer kind of fits in that role. He's a little bit smaller than Kennard. Like Kennard offers some things that people really don't appreciate. You know, he's about 6'5". He is a bigger shooting guard. He's not just one of these like little 6'3" shooters like Cam Spencer is.
Right.
Like he's actually a bigger guy. He's a little bit stronger. He's a vet. He plays defense. Not the best, but I mean he's out there trying, but he's also a lefty. I like what Kennard can do.
Those lefty shooters.
Lefty shooting guard, shooter. Lefty. Like I like Kennard. You know, he's not all that in a bag of chips, but I like him. He's good enough. He could go on a team and be the 8th guy, like a Hauser role on a winner. You know, he could fit that.
You see it.
But that's all for the trades. There isn't any more that happened. There might have been like a little swap here and there that I forgot, but they were like second rounds for second rounds type thing.
What do you think about the free agency? You gonna make your predictions?
Ooh, free agency.
We'll start with we already know LeBron's going back to the Lakers. He's the biggest name, obviously.
He opted out.
Yeah,
but I think it's to
take a pay cut, supposedly.
Yeah, it's to take a little pay cut, change his contract up.
All right, so we both know he's going back there. Where do you think Paul George is going? I'm gonna say I would like to see him on Golden State. I hope he goes to the Warriors.
Yeah.
You think the Warriors?
It'd be nice to see him go to the Warriors. I know there was a trade apparently that was agreed upon. So who knows what really just happened with Paul George and the Warriors and the Clippers and all that shit.
Yep.
There might be something happening there. I don't know. But if I could put Paul George on a team, I would like to see him go on a team that really needs him. And there's two teams that I think that are contenders that could actually use Paul George and that could take it up a notch. I would say one would be the Timberwolves.
Add some more scoring. Add another consistent scorer on that Timberwolves team.
You take Cat out. You got to trade Cat for Paul George.
Yeah, because Cat is great in the regular season. He's usually obviously a lot more consistent in the regular season than he is in the playoff season. Some games he doesn't even show up in the playoffs.
So the Clippers need a 4, like for real. I don't think they've ever really had a 4. They've been putting Kawhi there. I like Cat. Like if you put Cat there, I think it would be cool. I think the team actually makes a little more sense. You get some shooting for the Timberwolves because they did too much of this big shit. You get a little bit more perimeter-centric with Paul George than you do with Cat. Even though Cat plays on the perimeter a lot, I would much rather have PG there next to him. And then you could even slide McDaniels to the 4, which is pretty cool.
Yep. That's a really solid defensive team, too.
Yeah.
Defense, Paul George is a very good defender, too.
He's a better wing defender. I'd like him switching on Luka rather than Cat.
Or Gobert. Or Gobert, like we got in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna say Timberwolves.
So Timberwolves, I'll do one team for the East, one team for the West, and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay. What about
Imagine
Clay?
him on the Bucks.
They have a small window.
They do. They have a very small window, and I think Paul George does too.
Yep.
And he's in better shape than Middleton.
Yeah, he is.
So,
last 2 seasons have been rough for Middleton, health wise.
Yeah.
What about Clay?
Clay, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
I would love him on the Cavs. I think he would really fit and do a good job over there.
And you think Garland and Mitchell are staying? You think Garland and Mitchell are both staying on the Cavaliers?
No.
Oh, you think you think one of the two are gone?
Yeah, I think Garland's gone. That's why I was talking about him to the Magic, because I think Garland could be gone.
Okay.
And I think Garland to maybe the Suns. You trade, if I'm picking one team in the East, one team in the West, I think a fun team where Garland could go would be the Suns, because the Suns, I'm saying Sun, I'm so stuck in WNBA right now.
Yeah.
The Suns, because the Suns need a point guard.
They do.
So you can maybe move Bradley Beal or something like that. I know it's a big contract. It's what's going to have to be done. And also Bradley Beal he's duplicative to Booker and isn't even as good. So it's not even like they're equals. He's lesser than him, and he kind of clogs up what Booker does and wants to do.
And he can't.
Yeah. So I would say you get Mitchell back at the point, like he was kind of in Utah. Runs the point. Beal goes to the 2, where he should be. Now you got a point guard in Garland, and then you got the scorer next to Donovan Mitchell, who could actually, maybe relieve some pressure. I just don't know if Beal could do it all year round. Beal's kind of just been weird. But you gotta give up a little something. The Sun would have to give up a little something to get Garland. It would be Beal and like some picks or whatever they want. I really don't know. Maybe even something extra. Maybe they get Jared Allen for Garland and a little something else packaged in there, because they could use a big. And the Cavs don't need the extra big. I want Mobley to go to the 5 already. I'm done with him being this stretch 4 or whatever the fuck he's trying to be. He's a 5. He's an incredible 5. If he puts his heart and soul into it, it'll be an incredible 5.
Right. So you say Clay to the Cavs.
Clay to the Cavs. West, for the West. What about the Grizz?
Okay.
I think Clay to the Grizz instead, because they had that beef. Remember Memphis in the Warriors?
That's true.
And if the Warriors are kicking Clay out, Clay actually is more of the Memphis type. Mm-hmm. He is the fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is that type of personality.
I got 4 rings.
Well, he got 4 rings, but he's gonna be like, yo, fuck y'all. Y'all sold me out. Y'all gave up on me. We're the Splash Brothers. Draymond was the 3rd guy. Now you're taking Draymond's side.
No. He's yelling to me. No, it's fine. He was just yelling at me. Yep, I hear it. Obi Toppin just signed a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Pacers. That's honestly not terrible in today's NBA. That's not that.
15.
Yeah, that's
15
not
a year.
Can't be bad. He showed, and he had his best season this past season with the Pacers.
Jalen Smith opted out.
Yep, I saw that.
I wonder where he could go. I would love to see him go on the Bucks too. If Giannis, if we have to slide, if that's the plan, if that's Doc's genius plan, that we probably trade Brook or have him be a backup big. We switch up our whole play style because we know he can't hedge. We found that out last year. That was god awful, having him fucking come up to the level of the ball. Oh my god.
You add some more depth on the bench.
You bring Jalen Smith, you could start him at the 4.
You could,
or the 5 or whatever next to Giannis. He
provides
so much spacing. And he actually wants the opportunity. That's been his problem. He got drafted by Phoenix. They didn't want to play him ever. He goes to the Pacers because he wants more of an opportunity. They don't even give him that opportunity over in the Pacers. So hopefully he can maybe get his due with the Bucks or something. I don't know where other teams really feel on him. But I know the Bucks want a guy who's athletic. They want a guy who's just a 4-5, and they want a guy who could hit the three. So I would take Jalen Smith on a flyer.
Right. But for Clay, I'm going to say the Lakers.
That makes a lot of sense. His dad still works for the Lakers. His dad played for the Lakers.
And we know LeBron needs those 3-point shooters, and there's not many better 3-point shooters of all time than Clay. So
right, Clay's been off the past couple of years, but he is the perfect guy for LeBron, a 3-and-D wing. LeBron loves those guys, and he's never really had a guy as elite as Clay was.
yeah, and he's also taking a lesser role. I mean, AD and LeBron are still the 1 and 2 scoring options, so Clay doesn't have to really take on top guy scoring. So I'm gonna say Clay to the Lakers.
It would just be the worst defensive team ever.
Yeah, because he can't move anymore.
You got D'Lo still there. He picked up his option.
I hope he gets traded. I hope that's something to do with him getting traded.
Yeah. So you got D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Klay Thompson, LeBron James, AD. Poor AD.
But the thing is, LeBron can play really good defense when he wants to. That's the only thing.
When he wants to, but not in the regulars. Like,
he just shows no effort. Austin Reeves tries, but he gets cooked.
Yeah.
And then D'Lo doesn't really try. He's horrible defensively, and he's slow as hell.
Yeah, he couldn't guard a chair.
Yeah, so that's a rough defensive team.
Yeah.
What about Harden? I think he's just going to go back to the Clippers.
I think he's going to resign. Russell Westbrook resigned. He picked up his option.
Yep, I saw that. What about?
He's not leaving LA. He was just fucking with DeMar DeRozan and crip walking.
Yeah, I don't. Oh man. All right. What about Tobias Harris?
Tobias Harris. I think he should go to the Nets in the East. I don't think he should go to a winning situation. I don't think he's that type of player. He's the type of guy who's like a Gerald Wallace. You know, at the end of his career, he's got this contract. He kind of just is filling space, and he's kind of just playing, you know?
Right.
You remember Gerald Wallace for the Celtics at the end of his career?
Don't bring that up.
But I mean, like, he was a guy at the time, he was making 3 for $30 million, and people were crying about his deal.
Yeah, because he was good with the Bobcats.
He was good with the Bobcats. He was at the end of his career. He really was a stocks guy. Like, fantasy league monster was Gerald Wallace back in the day. He used to get a block and a steal every game, and it was lovely. He could board. You know, he like did a little bit of everything. So you get a guy like Tobias Harris on a bum squad. And on the West.
Yeah, I don't really know where I see Tobias Harris going, to be honest.
He would have to sign for a lot less. And in the West, to go to a team, I don't think he would go on a bum squad. And I don't think he would go on the Spurs, though they do have the room. I think the Spurs. Okay. I see Tobias Harris going to a bum squad being cap filler. I don't see him being a helper and a contender. I don't see him taking $5 million a year and going to play on like the Suns or the Lakers and being a good guy. I see him wanting to stand on his money and go into a team that'll pay him his money, and a losing team will pay him his money.
So just adding a veteran piece for San Antonio.
Yeah, adding a veteran piece to San Antonio, teaching, Wemby, like, hey, this is a guy who 6'8", could shoot 40% from three, can really kind of do a little bit of everything, but just not on an elite level. And yeah, I think he's a good guy to put next to him. You have Castle. He's also a very steady piece to put next to Castle. I know he's inconsistent. He doesn't put up the points anyone wants him to put up for getting $40 million a year. But I mean, for $40 million a year, would you rather Tobias Harris or Ben Simmons?
Tobias Harris, the guy who plays and shows up every night.
Tobias Harris or Zach LaVine?
Oh, I'm taking LaVine. I can't take. I mean, LaVine missed a lot of time this year. I'm taking LaVine though.
LaVine got benched.
Well, he got hurt too.
He got hurt and benched. The guys didn't want to play with him anymore. Yeah,
I know. I'm still taking LaVine though. He's going. Right. He'll be traded eventually.
He doesn't play defense. That was what the Bulls were crying about. That they never even wanted to pay him that first deal in the first place. So it's like, I don't know. I don't like LaVine, but at the same time, I don't know. Tobias has his problems, but I get what you're saying with LaVine. But yeah, for a guy that like has been injury prone, doesn't play defense, kind of is a me first guy. I don't think he's that good for the money. I would take Tobias Harris for that contract, and especially on a losing squad.
Okay.
You put Levine with Wemby, and Levine's fucking, I don't want to play no defense. I'm not switching that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of guy he is. And I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of him. I know he could get hot from three, and that guy could light it up for 8 for 9 from three some nights, and look incredible. And you're like, how is this guy not an all-star?
I also think he doesn't like Billy Donovan. I don't think he gets along with Billy Donovan. He doesn't like playing for him. So I think that's maybe part of the reason as to why he's not fully engaged with the team.
The Bulls, look what they got. Billy Donovan's a great coach. I don't care what anybody says about Billy Donovan. These players are pieces of shit that don't like Billy Donovan. They really are. Billy Donovan won 2 national titles with Al Horford and Joakim Noah in Florida. What?
It was Thunder.
It was thundering out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won 2 national championships. Billy Donovan, then he went to the Thunder, did decent. He's always been a good guy. I don't know. I wouldn't say Billy Donovan is bad. So
a middle of the pack coach.
Yeah, and then Levine gets drafted by Minnesota. He's bouncing around. He never was a solid player. You think I'm going to take that guy's word for it, that Billy Donovan's the bad coach, when all 14 other players in the locker room took Billy Donovan's side?
Right.
Fuck Levine.
Yeah, so
I feel like Bill Simmons right now. Fuck Jalen Green. But yeah, it's like the same thing. It's like, that's what I see Jalen Green to be low-key. He's a little bit like Levine.
Yeah, so Levine will be traded eventually. But speaking of Bulls players, what about DeMar DeRozan?
Ooh, DeRozan in the West, I would like to see him, get moved. Maybe you trade him as like a D'Lo, I don't know, Austin Reeves. You got to trade one of those guys if you're going to get him in there. But I would like him to go over there. He wants to play in LA. Maybe that's the play. Is actually DeRozan for Paul George?
Maybe. Could you see him on the Cavaliers if they traded Garland? You think Mitchell? I mean, that's really good scoring.
But you wouldn't put Garland on the Bulls.
Yeah, the defense.
It would have to be a 3-man trade because, you got Giddey, you got Buzelis now. Those are 2 wings who apparently can't shoot but are playmakers. We'll see about Buzelis. I think Buzelis' shot's going to come around.
And the defense would be pretty horrible between Mitchell and DeRozan too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, it's terrible.
Together.
I would like to see DeRozan on I don't go back to Toronto.
That could be an option too.
On a lesser deal or something. That could be cool. With IQ, RJ Barrett, DeRozan. I think you got enough playmaking there. One other team that could do it.
Could you see him on the Kings?
On the Kings for
I don't know.
I don't know on the Kings. The defense is so bad there. I wouldn't want him on the Kings.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to put him on a team in the West, I don't like him in OKC.
No.
I don't because J-Dub does what he does better right now already. I love J-Dub.
I don't know how it would work if he was in Denver. I don't see that working in Denver.
I was working my way there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't like him in Dallas because he don't play D, he don't space the floor, and he wants to rock. So that doesn't work with Kyrie and Luka there.
And you're losing KCP probably in free agency. So you're losing your starting shooting guard.
But KCP shoots threes and plays defense, and DeMar DeRozan doesn't do either.
Good point.
I think
it's really tough. I really don't see where he goes.
Yeah. Like the Western Conference is tough, and it would be a forced fit and most likely not a successful fit anywhere he goes.
I mean, I'm looking at the teams, as we talked about. Thunder, no. Nuggets, no. Timberwolves, no. Clippers, no. Mavericks, no. Suns doesn't work. Does the Lakers work?
They do and they don't. That's what I was saying. You got to trade Reeves.
But I don't think the Lakers don't. I really don't think the Lakers want to trade Reeves. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't know. The Lakers seem to just, they're just going to kick the next white guy out the door. They did it with Caruso. They're going to do it with Reeves. Now they got a new white guy. They got Connect Four.
That'd be really stupid if you traded Reeves to me.
I know. I don't know what they're doing. But Pelicans? No, you just got Murray.
Then you got to figure out what.
If the Warriors can't get Paul George,
DeRozan. Okay, that works.
DeRozan.
That works.
That works. I actually like that. I would say the Warriors getting DeRozan would be dope, especially because he is from LA. I know that's far. San Francisco to LA is about a 6 to 8 hour drive. But for him to just be back in California, and that's what he seemed to want to do. I mean, Russ and him were at Kendrick's thing. Like, he loves LA. He wants to be back home. Same thing. Paul George, that's what he wanted. So I think that's why Paul George was open to going to Golden State. So if you have one California guy down to go to Golden State just because he wants to stay in Cali, I would copy and paste that same formula over for DeRozan. So I'll say Warriors for DeRozan as well. And what did I say for East Coast? I said I hope maybe a homecoming to Toronto.
Yeah. I could see the Toronto.
Every other situation I don't like. Celtics, no. Knicks, no. Bucks, honestly, no.
It's
He's
just
too
kind
old
of
and he doesn't play defense. He doesn't shoot threes.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like a tough fit for him.
The Magic, no, because they have Franz Wagner and Paolo, and they operate in that mid-range.
You already have a 2-3 player right there.
Yeah, Pacers, maybe.
Yeah, that could work.
76ers, maybe.
If you don't get Paul George.
If you don't get Paul George, Pacers, 76ers. Heat have Jimmy Butler. They're kind of similar. I wouldn't like that matchup.
No, I don't like that.
Bulls with DeRozan, they already have him, and it's not good.
Yeah.
The Nets could be interesting, just as like same thing with Tobias Harris. If you want to dump this guy, the guy's kind of done. He doesn't fit anywhere. No top teams want him. Send him to the Nets. They get a playmaking wing.
Yeah, I just don't see a lot of fits for him. And he's also
the Raptors, Wizards, no. Pistons, no.
And he's almost 35 too, but it's like his game, I haven't seen any real drop off from his game though. That's the thing. I mean, he's still a very talented player.
Mm-hmm.
I really haven't seen much drop off at all.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, what about the most important one? Whitebird.
Whitebird?
Where's Whitebird going? He's an unrestricted free agent.
Retirement.
What?
Talking about Gordon Hayward, right?
Yeah.
I'm balling Cam Thomas.
Oh no, we gotta retire the Whitebird jersey now. God damn.
I'm on that time with Gordon Hayward. But yeah, if he's gonna go, let's say he goes to the West. Shoot. The West, no Thunder.
It just doesn't make sense for him to go anywhere anymore, right?
Maybe on the Mavericks as the backup second unit.
I guess. Yeah, those are the biggest names. Those are the biggest names that I've seen. I see
maybe the Lakers because LeBron broke his leg and he owes him one.
Right. But those are the biggest names that I've seen. So I see Jonas Valanciunas, Malik Beasley, I guess Buddy Hield if you want to add some shooting, Evan Fournier if you want to add some shooting.
Maybe the Bucks.
Yeah, there isn't a lot. Well, Hayward on the Bucks?
Yeah, Hayward on the Bucks. I like it because he's about the same athleticism as Middleton. He could do what Middleton does. I'm not saying it's going to be great, but he could back Middleton up and do every play that Middleton runs because Middleton, sometimes he'll pass out of the post. He'll bring the rock up, shoot from the midi. I like what Gordon Hayward could do. I feel like he can match Middleton. He's not better than Middleton at this point of his career, but I feel like he could do it.
Your boy,
they don't have the size or the wings right now.
Right. Your boy Miles Bridges is an unrestricted free agent too.
Yeah, Miles Bridges is on free agency, unrestricted. Could be interesting. I think that's another guy that should go to the Nets. Losing situation, builds his name back up. If he goes to a winner, he's not going to play. So that might be the end of his career. Like if he goes to a winner and he plays like 12 minutes a night, good hustle guy, and then he's just a good hustle guy. He actually has an opportunity to rebrand himself, build his name back up, show some goodwill.
Well, he played well last season.
Yeah, he's a great player. He truly is. On the court, I love Miles Bitches. But the problem is he's Miles Bitches because of what he does off the court.
Yep. Nothing wrong with his game. Nothing wrong with
his game. Shit, out of college at Michigan State, he looked like a little baby Braun at times. The way he would just dunk on people, 2 hands, 1 hand, doesn't matter. Like he has that extra level of athleticism that really makes him elite. He could board up, he could play make. We know he could score. He could always bring it in on somebody. There's just a lot to love about Bridges as a player. But just as a person, you know, he has a little bit of a tarnished name in the league and a little bit of a lack of respect for, you know, everyone has a little bit of a lack of respect for him, I would say. So I don't know. I don't know where he could end up, but I think he would provide a lot to a bum squad. You know, maybe he could go to the Wizards and fill in what Denny was doing last year. He could board up like Denny. He could D up.
He's already on a bum squad too.
Right, he's already on a bum squad, but they don't want to keep him. They want to rebuild without him. So can he go to the Cavs? Hell yeah. Imagine him on the Cavs.
That'd be scary.
Yeah, that would be fucking scary. I would actually say that's a threat. That's a team that's a threat.
I'd be watching those games.
Yeah, if they get Miles Bridges, holy shit. Him and Donovan Mitchell. But yeah, then maybe him in the Nets. Anywhere else, I really don't like. Pacers could be interesting.
Right.
Maybe them. I'd say those are the probably 3 teams I would like to see Bridges on. Nets, Pacers, and who was the last one I just said?
Nets, Pacers, and the
Cavs.
Cavs.
Nets, Pacers, Cavs. So in the East, that's where I'd like to see him. In the West, let me think. Lakers could be a real situation for him in the West. That's a place where he could try to rebuild his name. LeBron, and if you're good with LeBron, man, he'll talk you up. And now ESPN's talking about you like you're a golden child. So,
could you put Mavs?
What?
Could you put him on the Mavs?
You could put him on the Mavs.
Add some more scoring. Take
Him
a little.
and PJ Washington. He actually has familiarity with PJ Washington, and he knows how to share the court with PJ Washington because PJ is so flexible.
And take some pressure off of Luka and Kyrie.
Right? He's got a little ball handling. He's got a little creation. He crashes the glass. He's strong as hell.
He can go out and get a bucket on his own. He doesn't need
All right, so let's pick 3 teams for the West for him. We got Mavs, Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying wings to the Warriors already, so we say DeRozan and Paul George. Maybe let's not give him that.
Okay.
He could rap, so maybe he goes to the Grizzlies.
Start shooting with Morant.
Yeah, just start shooting Morant. Music videos, features with NBA YoungBoy, with NLE Choppa.
That's what we need.
Draft NLE Choppa to the Grizz, 2nd round.
NLE Choppa invented rap, so.
He did.
All right, so yeah, Grizzlies, Mavs, and Lakers.
Grizzlies, Mavs, Lakers for him. I like that. I will say maybe 2 more teams we could talk about that could be fun. One is the Clippers. What if Paul George leaves and Kawhi's kind of, his health is a little weird? Would you sign Bridges?
Could be. Kawhi might be soon.
Yeah, let's say Kawhi can't even start the year. Bad knee, going through some shit. Paul George is out. What else are you going to do? You're going to run Russell Westbrook and Harden out there together, and that's it?
Right.
Him and Zubac?
Mm.
So I think Bridges could be a fun pick for the Clippers. And then the last one, we could just say the Warriors. I know we put DeRozan and PG there, but let's say hypothetically nothing happens there about those 2 guys.
Yeah, the Warriors.
If he goes in on the Warriors, he could actually do something.
Yeah, the Warriors have a lot of options.
And they need a guy with some strength. I know Kuminga actually had a really good year last year, and he's stronger. He could get to the cup, but throwing Bridges on that squad and actually having a lob threat too, because Bridges does a lot of things, man.
Yeah, I can't wait till 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
No, 6 p.m.
Free agency starts.
6 p.m. Eastern time is when they can start negotiating with players. So they might have contracts ready by then.
Okay.
Maybe not for Paul George, but who knows?
Right.
Because then
Okay.
I think players officially start signing their contracts July 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to wait until next week for that.
Yeah, we got basically a full week till things really play out.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for this offseason.
And then Summer League. You want to go to Summer League this year?
Oh, yeah. Steve Bronny play 2 games. That starts.
Right.
I seen in the Summer League that there's a Kings 1 team and then there's a Kings 2.
Really?
I seen on ESPN the Lakers were playing them July 6th or something. It said Lakers.
Oh, that's not the real Summer League.
Oh, okay.
That's the California Classic. It's really weird. But they basically have a mini Summer League before Summer League, and it's in Sacramento. So they play all their games there. They have like 3 days, and then they go. The official Summer League is like July 17th to like the 27th or something.
Yeah, because I seen Kings 1 and then they play later in the day Kings 2. I was like, damn, they got a big ass team.
Yeah, they do.
Why do they have so many players?
It's because, like I said, it's the hometown team. So I think maybe not every team wants to go out there and play for those like that little short stint. So they probably just increased their roster and filled it in, so more teams don't have to commit. You want to go to Summer League this year?
I don't know, man.
You always say that. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. It's just not. I don't want to see the top players play 2 games or play a game and a half or something and then get hurt or not play.
But the rest of it's fun.
Yeah.
The rest, I'm telling you, the atmosphere, everything about it. Do you remember going to basketball with me in the AAU tournaments and stuff?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Where you walk around, there's 4 courts, and everyone's playing. It's crazy. That's how it feels like at Summer League because there's 2 gyms right next to each other. One is smaller than Central's gym.
That's small.
It's tiny, bro. Like, our high school gym is bigger than that gym. And then you got the other one, which is about the size of, like, UMass's gym or smaller.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to UMass's gym, right?
Yeah.
Not the cage, the new gym.
Oh, no, I've only been to the cage.
Okay, so it's a little bit bigger than the cage, but it's smaller than the other one. Okay. So regardless, it feels like a small arena for the most part. Both of them do. But one of them is the high school gym, like straight up high school gym. Like the bleacher seats pull out. You're sitting on, that's like how it is.
That's tough.
Yeah, so I tried to get you to come last year. You weren't really buying into the Wemby hype.
We'll see. Maybe Cooper Flag.
You think? Next year maybe you'll go for Cooper Flag.
Maybe Cooper Flag. We'll see.
Okay.
See him play 1 game, and then sprain his ankle.
Oof. I seen somebody compare him recently in a podcast, like a mock draft type guy that's like paid by ESPN. Yep. You know who they compared him to?
Who?
Andrei Karolinko.
Wow.
I just don't see that.
I think he's better than Karolinko.
I think he's better than Karolinko too.
Yeah.
He's not a defensive specialist, but like
no disrespect to Karolinko, but
he's an anchor to me. Like in 2K, you get like little icons and all that type of shit. But like Cooper Flag locks down on defense. Like he's gonna make your whole defense sound.
And how tall is he? Is he 7 feet tall?
6'10".
6'10".
He's a power forward. If anything, I feel like he could develop into a Giannis.
Yeah, he's gonna be exciting to watch.
I just hate the comparisons. Let me go on a little rant right here. Draft comparisons where you only compare white players to white players and black players to black players, it really shows how limited your knowledge is, I should say, on these players. And I just don't like it. There is, like, if you actually know ball, there is some, like, overlap. You don't have to say, Reed Shepherd, he's TJ McConnell. Like, no. There are other guys. He's not the only white guy that's ever made it, and he's not the last. And this TJ McConnell isn't the only white guy like mold that you could play. There's so many other play styles in this league to where. But yeah, like I just seen some lazy comparisons this year, and just calling white guys other white guys. And I just think calling Cooper Flag, Andre Karolinko is ridiculous. Because then the second, you see Cooper Flag hit a midi, now he's Dirk.
Right.
But then where did all his defense go? Because Dirk didn't play no defense. So now you can't call him Dirk.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just don't agree with the way they just slap this and slap that on that. And if you go through my mock draft, I actually have some pretty good comparisons, I think. And I've done this for years. Like I said, Donovan Clingan. I compared him to Tyson Chandler mixed with Zubac. So Clingan is an American guy, but I'm comparing him to Zubac, who is from Montenegro, I believe. And then you have, which is a small European country, or Bosnia and Herzegovina, or something like that. He's from over there.
I can kind of see some Zubats in his game too.
You see a little Zubac in it, but also some Tyson Chandler, big time shot blocker, and could also pass from the high post.
Right.
So like Tyson Chandler wasn't no dummy. When he got the rock, he could kick out, he could make some plays and be like the hockey assist guy, kind of like how Draymond did for a long time. Tyson Chandler was that guy on the Mavericks. Like he was so freaking good. Defensive player of the year, almost every year he was in that conversation. And if Clingan could be the best of his abilities, he could try to match that. So, yeah, I see a good combination of Tyson Chandler and Zubac.
Okay.
And then if I just keep going down. Oh, Nikola Topic. I see some Sean Livingston and some Karis LeVert mixed in his game. I didn't see one guy who compared him to anything like that. He got compared to every white guy in the book. It didn't matter who you were. They compared him to me.
No one's got dimes like you.
No, maybe that's what it really was. Oh, right here, Tajon Salon. I said I think his floor is at least Denny Avdia. 6'9" forward, can board, play defense, and hit a three in the corner. Like I think he's got some of that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Avdia comparison because I think Denny's just getting better too.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of potential. Denny, yeah, he does. How about this one? Zach Edey. I compared him to like a Marc Gasol mixed with Rudy Gobert. He could pass. He could score. You got to remember, this is the guy who won 2-time MVP of college basketball. He's not some like rim-running bum.
Yeah.
He is like 24 and 14 a game with 2.5 blocks.
And he could shot block like Gobert.
He could shot block like Gobert. He plays smart defense too, which is more like Gasol. I feel like he's more grounded, which is more like Gasol. Rudy Gobert is a little jumpy. He jumps at a lot of shit.
But he also can play offense, unlike Gobert, and more like Gasol.
And he could pass, and he's more like Gasol. He's got these good in-betweens. And Marc Gasol and Gobert, I know they're both from Europe, but they're not the same race. You know? And like it's just lazy comparisons I feel from people. Right here, Johnny Furphy. I compared him to Mike Dunleavy and Trevor Ariza. He's got a good mixture of this wing that could play defense. He doesn't want the ball. He moves it in transition, and he plays hard. Like that's what I seen from him. What else? What else do we got? Oh, Nikola Jurisic. He was drafted in the second round to the Heat. I said he's got a little bit of a Marko Jaric. I know you're too young for Marko Jaric. And this other guy, Jim Jackson, a forward that handled the rock, had pretty good speed, always could attack the rim, had a solid little pull-up from 10 to 12. That's what I seen from the tape. I watched even not just highlights of this guy, but also like full tape of every offensive possession. You can go on YouTube and almost find that on anybody now. You just have to put in the time. I literally, for 2-3 days straight, I was watching film, and that's why my girl was bugging out. And that's why I thought it was so funny, because I was literally watching film 3 days straight, sitting on my computer 10 hours, bro. Just like sitting back with food and just watching, and I'm watching possessions just go. But who's another guy that my one last one? Oh, Filipowski. I said he's got a little bit of Boris Diaw in his game.
Okay.
Boris Diaw, 6'9", runs a little of this point big at times, could stretch the floor, could dribble a little bit. Not really the defender, and no one ever has called these guys defenders.
Right.
Slower feet on that end, bad hips on that end, but awesome on offense and a fun connector. Dalton Connect, I compared him to Desmond Bain at his highest levels, but he probably could be more of a Pat Connaughton. That 6'4" shooting guard can kind of have some offense, but mainly he might just be a Connaughton. But that's not bad. I mean, Connaughton was on a championship team and was a reason why they won for all those offensive rebounds and the corner threes that he was hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Do I got any other fun ones? Oh, I had a really good one here. Keyshawn George. I forgot where he got drafted to, but I compared him to a Sam Hauser, Cameron Johnson type.
It says the Knicks.
Okay, then you
I
got
don't know,
drafted.
I don't know if
But
it
I
was.
think he got traded.
Yeah, he got traded. Oh, from Dallas? It was a pick from Dallas, it says.
Oh, okay. So then the Dallas picked him, but he's going to the Knicks.
That's what it says, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I have him at. Sam Hauser, Cam Johnson. Another, not just a lazy comparison of just slapping a whatever on a whatever. Ooh, another one, Jacoby Walter. I don't know if you know who Jacoby Walter is, but pretty solid guy, honestly. All offense, 6'5" shooting guard. I said he reminds me of Tyler Hero. At his peak, I think if he reaches his ceiling, you got a Tyler Hero. Maybe he turns into like a Tim Hardaway, or maybe even like a Grady Dick. You know, just a set shooter, can play ball, can try hard on defense. He's lanky, but that's what I see with him. The more and more I watch him, I'm like, this guy, like, he reminds me of Hero.
Mm.
And it's about watching the game. It's above the, oh, this guy's a white shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, too many people get put in a box, and then that's all they say about the guy.
Right.
Like, look at Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen was just some set white shooter in most people's eyes. He was the fucking point guard last year for the Sun. Playmaking his ass off, playing way more than what he should have ever done in the league.
And his three was off the charts last year, too.
Yeah, like, Grayson Allen stepped it the fuck up. And everyone put him in this little set shooter box. Everyone hates him. He's a dirty player, all this other stuff. But when it comes down to it, when you put the ball in his hands, he makes plays.
He does.
He's a great player. So, you know, like, a lot of people slept on what he could do. Oh, set shooting white guy, can't do nothing in the league. But he had to play point guard last year, and he did his fucking thing. Way more than anyone else could have expected from him. Hitting late game shots, shooting, pulling up from anywhere. You know, like, Grayson Allen's dope. And if you sleep on it, you don't realize that this guy won the slam dunk contest at Duke.
Mm.
They had like a
He does have some in a while.
yeah, he's got like a 44-inch vertical.
Yeah.
Fucking, I know he looks like Ted Cruz, but Duke a ball. What else? I had another. Did I have one more comparison in the first round that could be solid? Nah, there ain't no other ones. But I said Bobby Clintman has a chance to be Kevin Knox.
That sucks.
You know, but he's got some high upside. He does. He can still figure it out. But I'd say that's probably more where he lines up right now in his young career. So I think he could be more of a Kevin Knox guy than anything else.
Mm.
But anything else we got? I mean, we this might be our longest episode ever. We've never gone 3 hours.
No, yeah, that
But
was
it's flowed.
Yeah,
It's been an action-packed 3 hours.
it has. The Liberty game is on right now.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get over there to the Liberty game. Let me see what do I got my fast break lineup set? It'll break my heart if I don't have it set.
There's two more games on at 3 too.
Okay.
On ESPN and ESPN 3. This game's on ESPN right now.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm about to pull this up right now. It's on ESPN.
Yeah, this game's on ESPN.
And then when did the other games start? In like 30 minutes?
Start at 3 o'clock, so 40 minutes. Well, I mean 3 o'clock for me, so.
All right, yeah, I got to go to Stream East for this one.
Yep.
I ain't got the cables.
Mm.
You said Liberty Dream, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's already third quarter. Damn, I'm so late.
Yeah, game started at 1.
It is to, like, lazily just say, oh, this guy could be Tim Hardaway Jr. But when you think about it, like, if Tim Hardaway Jr. had a full opportunity, maybe was a little bit better, more polished, more invested in, Tyler Hero is a player that, probably around the same skill cap, but just a different opportunity, different situation.
And making the most of it.
And making the most of it, right? Some people just don't make the most of it when they get that opportunity, but still could have the same skill set. It's all about confidence and a little bit of politics. As I've known through my whole life playing sports and just work and everything else, politics, comes into a lot. Or how people feel about you, how the coaching staff likes you, how you conduct yourself away from the court, everything else determines how much minutes you get. And that's something we've said about Cam Thomas. What the hell is there that we don't see?
We're missing something.
We're missing something, straight up. I'll be willing to say that. It could be, it could be wrong, but seems like we're missing something with Cam Thomas because dude's averaging 24 points a game, and the team doesn't really want to make him the face. Everything you hear about him, he's just a gunner, blah, 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 bad defense. There's never a positive word said about this man. So there's something happening because I hear more positive words about Miles Bridges.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I hear more positive words about Terrence Davis, who was beating his girl in Toronto. And now he's on the Kings and no one says shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is something about this guy. There's something about certain players that is not said, and I don't know what it is. Maybe they've been selfish and not been Vegas at times where that was a big problem and they can't be trusted in Vegas situations. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
They're not playing along in the league and playing their part the way they should be. So maybe they can't be trusted, and that's just what it is. If they don't play ball, they're not playing ball.
That's a bar.
And that's what we're going to leave on. So thank you for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. Much love. This is our longest episode ever, so if you sat through it, you even gave us 10 minutes. Much love. We really appreciate it. Any last words, Rich?
Adios.
Adios. All right.
Adios is my last word.
Adios. All right, guys. Thank you so much again. Next week, we'll be back every Sunday, 8 a.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Keep tuning in. We love it. Leave some comments. Leave whatever. But adios, guys. We're out of here. Thank you for tuning in.
Adios.